Booyakasha! Welcome to my show. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that introduction was. I don't know where that was going. Oh, that went wrong. Hello, everyone. Hey, welcome. It is, nearly said Friday then. It is Sunday. Am I zoomed in? Hang on. Oh, hang on. Let me just, oh no, camera's that close. Never mind. There we go. Nice and shiny. Moving on. Right, button pressing. Always a good start. Welcome, one and all. Hopefully you can see and hear me okay. Welcome. It is Fox from the Model Making Guru. It is Warhammer Sunday. Yes, welcome to my Sunday Warhammer show where I build stuff and just, that's kind of it really. I kind of build stuff and hang out with you guys in the chat. Before we get going, big shout outs, as always, to all the people that make this. I need to move my microphone. Hang on. There we go. I'm not all getting coffee. Oh, God, that's terrible. I made a terrible coffee. Oh, how do I make a terrible coffee? It's literally coffee and water. There's no other ingredients. Hang on. Oh, I'll get used to it. I think I just put far too much coffee in. Woohoo! Bit strong. Welcome. Quick shout out to all the people that make my content possible before we get going. First and foremost, my beautiful, lovely Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members. Patreon supporters who became a patron at patreon.com/model making guru. The address is down there. And also my YouTube channel members who simply hit the join button at the bottom of one of my videos to become a channel member. I need to clear my throat already. 1 second. Wow, it's gone to shit already. Never mind, moving on. Yes, my lovely patrons at patreon.com/model making guru and my channel members who became a member by hitting the join button at the bottom of any of my videos. They all support me each month. They pay my bills. They keep all these lights on. They keep me in kits and materials, and they ensure that I can spend all my days at the bench doing live streams and filming, unless I'm playing on the Xbox, in which case, when I'm streaming, which isn't at the bench, but it's near the bench. They make sure I can give all this content for you. So welcome, thank you, massive thank you to them. And of course my corporate supporters at goblingaming.co.uk and emodels.co.uk. Both of them are your one-stop shop for all your model making and tabletop gaming needs. So do check out the 2 links in the description below the video for those 2 stores. They're my very good mates and they are affiliate links. So if you use those specific links, it tells them I sent you, and I earn some income from that. It doesn't cost you anything, but I earn some income from that. So it's another good way to support this channel. So welcome, one and all. Thank you to all of them, but welcome to everybody else. I will be cracking on with some building today. If you've not seen one of these before, basically I crack on with some buildy. I'm steering away from painty because painty is really hard on a live stream, especially if it's something I want to sell at the end of it. So live stream painting is quite difficult. But yes, I'll be doing some buildy. That's not really what's important here, though. This show is really just about you guys hanging out in chat and having a good time because the world's on fire and we're all stuck at home. A lot of us are stuck at home. There's nothing else we can do, so let's just hang out in a safe place like in the YouTube chat. If you're watching this and you can't see the chat, by the way, the archive chat is here, this big blue box. But if you can't see where to join the typey chat, you need to be on the YouTube page. So if you're watching this embedded in Twitter or Facebook or Patreon or somewhere else, click on the YouTube link that's down here underneath the big promo for Patreon. There'll be a YouTube button. Click on that. You'll go to the YouTube page where you can carry on watching and you can join the live chat. And you should, because everybody in chat is awesome. And there's 31 people watching right now, and there's not 31 people in chat. So come and join in. You don't have to, but everyone in there is lovely. The mods will keep you safe. It's a nice place to hang out. Why not? It doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I'm just going to waffle for 3 hours. Gutham, of course, is with me as always. I've got the chat in front of me here on the iPad of happiness. Gutham, of course, is being the chat dolly. Even though being a bird, that means he's looking at me and at that drawer. He's not really looking at the iPad. He'd have to be looking like that to actually watch the iPad. But then he'd be looking at me as well. How do birds' eyes work? Hang on. Oh, my throat today. Oh, my voice lately. When you're doing live streams and stuff all day long, after even just for 3 hours, when you're doing it like 3 days in a row, it can really take a toll on your voice. Anyway, yes, how do birds... Like, if Guthorn was looking at... facing that way now, if he's facing that way, he's looking at whatever's over there and whatever's over there. So if he's like looking at... He's pointing this way, but he's looking at the iPad... and he's looking at me. How do birds' brains cope with 2 completely different, or anything with non-stereo? How do they even do that? I don't. if you're a predator and you want to get your prey, just come straight in front of them because they can't see you. So when you see a bird and a bird's pointing its beak at you in your direction, it's not looking at you. Just so you know. Because it often looks like, say, a pigeon or something is looking at you, but it's not. If it's pointing its beak at you, it's looking on either side. It's weird. I don't understand how birds work. Anyway, yes, welcome one and all. Let's have a quick look and see who is in. We've got something a bit different today. Have your decision-making pants ready, because I'm going to ask you, not you, but you, I'm going to ask you to choose what I'm going to be working on for the next few weeks. Yeah, so... in chat we have starting with Pascal Leverse, who was here about 6 weeks ago. Welcome, Pascal. Mordraka and Quanaman are both in. Welcome to you too. Nim is in. Heyo everyone, says Nim. Hope you're awake and vibrant and white. Coffee. I'm even more wibbly wobbly words today because I've been doing some filming this morning, and I have to tell you, because I'm getting old. In the old days I used to turn the camera on, talk to the camera and say, now we're going to do this and we're going to film this and that, and I just do it. But if you notice, over the last couple of years I've got more towards the film everything and then do voiceover later kind of way of doing things, because it's got to the point now where if I have like a 2-minute stint of talking to camera, like here's the like imagine I'm going, here we are, this has now been painted, the next step is to do X, Y and Z, and I need to talk about it for a couple of minutes. I have to do like 100 takes because I can't do takes to camera anymore. Either I talk rubbish and just stumble halfway through. For some reason, the moment I press record on the camera, I just start salivating like the Aswan Dam has burst. Or I just keep fluffing my lines all the time. And it's not even pre-scripted lines, it's just from my brain. But so if you're wondering why my content is lately pre-recorded with voiceover, it's purely because of that. Because there's only so many times you can do the same sequence over and over and over and over again before you start saying words that you don't want to say in any kind of religious establishment. So yes, so I'm a bit wibbly wobbly this morning with the speaking because I've been recording all morning, which means I've done the same take 400 times. Oh, gets me angry. Where was I up to? Yes, Nim, hope you're awake and wide awake and happy and bouncy today. She's been sleepy the last few days. David Sanderson is in. Welcome, David. We have George Gabriel. He's one of your lovely, lovely mods. He's my very, very dear friend, and he's also the person for whom I was making all that Warhammer Conquest stuff, half of it. George is one of your mods. Chris at Gross Models may well be in later on, but I do have a number of people out there who are my mods. They'll keep you safe and look after you, but if you cross them, they'll rip you in half with their bare hands and cast you into the sun. So don't cross the mods. Welcome, George. Who else do we have? Mordraka, Eon's car. Crab walks in. That's not how a crab walks, I know, but I can't really do. I'm not a crab, I can't do it. I know what you mean. Where are we up to? Scale model Muse is in. Welcome, Muse. Paul Di Tommaso is in. Welcome, Paul. Dan Kramer. People are talking about snow. I'll take everybody's snow. I'll take snow happily. Thank you very much. I love snow. We have Beyond Hope says, hi all, pretend I'm not here. Imagine I'm the ghost in your machine. So Beyond Hope completely isn't here. He's probably, I assume, watching with his boss somewhere in the distance. That's why he's saying he's not here. So I assume Paul, Beyond Hope, I don't know his name's Paul, his name could be Ted or John or Claire for all I know. Beyond Hope, if you're Beyond Hope's boss, he's totally not watching. So just don't worry about it. He's working hard right now. William Rayborn is in. Welcome, William. We have Edward Leonard says, morning all. Welcome, Edward. Beyond Hope says something. He says, George Gabriel, please can you ban me so I don't accidentally expose myself to chat? This isn't a Zoom call. There's no exposing anything in this. It's not a Zoom call, you know. Mordraka says, remember people to hit that like button to help Master Fox get to the streams out there more. Yes, if you're watching this, do hit the like button. It's always worth hitting the like button on content that you enjoy, because it means your creator that you enjoy gets higher up in the listings, in the search listings, and have more. Wow, I really... Oh! Hang on. Right. Think, Fox. Use words like a normal big boy. You know, like a dribbling puddle of nonsense. Yes, if you hit the like button, it means that when somebody does a search on YouTube, my video is more likely to come up in the search results. And therefore, it means more people watch it. Hit the like button. Candygram from Mongo is in, says, greetings everyone. Welcome, Candygram. Wayne Haywood, welcome, welcome. Michael Starman is in. Welcome, Michael. And I think that's about everybody. Now, I do have the chat here in front of me. with a random keyboard pop-up. If you want to catch my attention, I will be interacting with you as much as possible. It's not like a video game stream where I can't really do much chat. If you want to catch my attention, please do put your comment in big capital letters, because I'll have my goggles of seeing on today. So, of course, it will be mostly out of focus. So I will have those on. So please put your comment in big fat capital letters. Do put, as you can see there, somebody's put @ModelMakingGuru. That also tells me there's a comment for me. But if you want to, you can do a super chat, which is you do by pressing the dollar symbol. There's a button at the bottom of the chat window with a dollar symbol on it. Click on that. You can do a super chat. It puts your comment in a coloured box. It also puts an animation up here and makes a noise. There's no way I can miss super chat comments. Nim says, I think you need stronger coffee. I might suggest Death Wish coffee. The name kind of puts me off that one. Beyond Hope says, not working today. Sat at home on the floor clearing the mess from under the workbench so I can install a new floor and a new proper chair. Must stop procrastinating. Yeah, everybody says must stop procrastinating, and you know what? No one ever does. Anyway, it's not that I need stronger coffee, Nim. It's that I need to have not spent the last hour saying the same thing over and over and over again. I literally, right, I've been working on the tabletop trauma centre tank, and we're up to here so far. I've been working on this, and I literally had to point to the camera and say something like, there we go, that's the black and green camouflage scheme done. Shows you how good dry brushing can be. A little bit of information about dry brushing. Next, we need to do the white bits. Let's go and get that done. And that's all I had to say to camera. Literally. About, maybe about a minute's worth of talking to the camera. And after an hour, I was pulling my hair out. I've got to that point where I just can't do a straight piece to camera anymore without making 100 gaffes. And it's driving me nuts, which is why, like I say, hi Lynn. Lynn Dipple's in. Lynn says, don't tell anyone, but I'm at work. Shh, just sneaking in to say hi. Now I sneak out. Bye. Don't tell anyone that Lynn was in. Shh. So it's got to the point now where for my videos, unless I want to spend 6 weeks making a 2-minute video and pulling my hair out completely, I have to resort to doing film me doing it and then talk about it in voiceover later, which is, I can do it in one take. It's getting quite frustrating. I think it's just because I'm getting old. When I was younger, I could just go straight to camera, bang, hit record, and off you go. But now, I don't know. It's challenging, so you see me doing that a lot. Yes, hello Lynn, welcome. Thanks for coming in, and goodbye. Graham M is in. Welcome, Graham. Aeon's Car says, hi, bye, Lynn. How many pieces for the model where you were looking for your next model? There's more Drac. How many pieces for the model? Hang on. I don't understand the sentence. How many pieces for the model where you're looking for your next model? I don't understand the question. Anyway, yes, so, today we are going to start something new. If you notice, for the last few weeks, we have been, or for the last year or so, I've been working on building up the Warhammer Conquest part work that George was very nicely helping to fund. He'll be getting all the Space Marines, I'll be getting all the Death Guard. I've got most of that built. I've got like a few scenery items left to do and things, and of course the Space Marine bikes, which I refuse to do on camera ever. They'll get sorted out towards the end once I've painted everything else, because I kind of lost my steam on it. I've got most of it built. I need to get on with the painting of it soon. So I've put that aside now. I'll get the last few bits finished off camera. What we're going to do now is start on some new things. My plan is basically the Warhammer Sunday will be where I build the stuff that I then go and later on film the how to paint videos. I'm going to start moving away from showing how to build things in my videos, because it's a lot of work for 1 or 2 episodes when I'm just following the instructions. If it's a kit like a resin kit, I'll include the building. But if it's a plastic kit where I'm just literally following the instructions, I'm going to move away from that, because I'm kind of wasting time filming a whole episode that's just how to build something. Unless it's warranted, I'll avoid that. I'll get them all pre-built. So Warhammer Conquest. Warhammer Sunday is going to be all about the building, at least for now anyway. Because painting is quite hard on camera, and like I say, if I build something to paint it and then sell it, I need it to be my best possible work, and I can't do my best possible work on camera because I can't get close. Anyway, so I have a couple of kits ready. I actually looked in my stash, and I need to wipe my nose already. Disturbingly, my Warhammer stash is less than I thought, which was kind of weird. Oh, hang on, sniffle. So I looked at the small stash that I actually have. I thought I could start on the Baneblade, but I didn't want to, because Ted's got his going and Chris has got his going. I don't want to. I mean, I wouldn't be painting it for months anyway, but I thought I'll leave that for now. I've got a couple of kits to get on with. I've got a couple of kits here now that I'm going to show you that I'm going to choose from. George says, do the flamethrower tank. when I do resin builds, I want to show how to do the actual build properly on proper build series, because that's an expensive kit, and it justifies a proper full build series with including building. So for that and the Macarius Vanquisher, that'll get a proper building. It'll get a proper paint video, but also a proper building section of that as well. So I won't be doing that on streams, and I wouldn't really do resin on a stream anyway, because I'd have to wear my respirator, and I can't really do a stream with the respirator. So I'm going to steer away from resin. Anyway, yes. So today we have a couple of kits for you to choose from. Let's try that again, says more. How many parts in the next Warhammer model were you looking at? Do you mean like how many episodes of this stream, as long as it takes? I don't plan them. I'll just literally each week just do a bit of build. And what my plan is that whatever I do on the Warhammer Sunday streams, I won't do anything off camera, because it'll just be building. So it'll just be as long as it takes. Anyway, today I went through my stash. Sad days, says George. I know, but I want to do. That was a very expensive gift. I don't want to half-ass it. A resin kit. I don't want to half-ass it on a live stream. And also, like I said, I have to wear my respirator and stuff to work on it. So I'd rather sit down and build that properly. Whereas plastic kit I can work on. Anyway, we have a couple of kits. So I went through my stash and I picked out two that I've been really looking forward to building anyway. I already have some of these, but I've got these two that I haven't built yet. We have the custom booster blaster, the Orcs, basically like hot rod, custom booster blaster, and I have the Boomdacker Snazwagon, which you can tell I bought before that because there's a bit more dust on the box. So I have the Boomdacker Snazwagon or the custom booster blaster. So we'll have a look at these and then I'll let you decide. So don't decide yet, because I'm going to show you the boxes. Let's have a look. So starting with the Boomdacker Snazwagon, you can see it's a delightful colour scheme on this one. It's basically a vehicle filled with orcs who are throwing explosive charges, and let's have a look on the back and see what we got. We have a mech special, which is a Snazzy Dacker, which is a dude throwing a Molotov cocktail, and he's got an enormous grenade launcher type gun. Got a burner bottle. He's a pyro nutter. It's got rear axle gubbins, rear axle bits. I can't do. This is where you need Colin at Festy 67's workshop to do the proper like orc voice. Grot blaster, boss pipes. The ball bars are boss pipes, of course. And on the front, we have a stupid git. What needs a lesson? There's a bloke like strapped to the front, very Mad Max style. So you can see there, that's the kind of thing we've got. We've got a load of dudes in there, flamethrowers. Blokes hanging out. We've got grots hanging out with various weaponry. That little dude there. We've got some orcs with all the exploding bangingness. And we've got the grot stuck on the front as well. So that's the Boomdacker Snazwagon. Now we also have the custom booster blaster. Yes. Which is, I like the look of this one. It's like a kind of hot rod style, but with orc obviously written all over it. This one. We have a rivet cannon on the top. It's got spiky tyres here, right? Spikes on them tyres here. We've got a grot blaster, so we've got a grot in the back firing his little weapon. We've got a cyborg gunner, which I think is just a cybernetic orc, an orc with cybernetic implants. It's got twin engine gubbins. Yeah, look at that. Twin engine gubbins. Burner exhaust, spiked rem, and a stick bomb. The bloke's got a stick bomb, and there is a guy hanging off the back here. The little grot shooting his way at whoever's behind them. And you can see here as I knock the microphone, it's just like a mint-looking vehicle. It's like a real hot rod with the engine sticking out and everything else. Less dudes on this one, but it is a kind of mint-looking vehicle. It's actually I've had a look at it. It's a very simple construction as well. So we have a choice. We have the Boomdacker Snazwagon. Remember, I'm not going to be painting these on the stream. I'm just going to get them built up, and then we'll come back and paint them later. Now, I do also have the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy, which I've built and not primed yet. I've got the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy, and I have the one that looks like a fighter plane with the tracks on the back that I can't remember the name of. The jet boost, not the shock jump dragster, but the other one that looks like a fighter plane. I've got that one as well. They're all built but not painted, so I will have 4 of them by the end of it. So anyway, which one should I build? Should I build the Boomdacker Snazwagon, or should I build, first of all, the custom booster blaster? I know you've all been answering in chat already. Let's have a look. Let me get a pen of writing, and we'll do some maths. So we have, in fact, I don't need a piece of paper. The easy way. Let's make a mark on the box. We have. La 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 la. Oh, it jumped. Am I on live chat? Yeah, I'm on live chat. Right, so we have. My plan is, by the way, of course, I've not got a massive stash of Warhammer, but by the time I get to the end of the stash, I'll be able to have bought more stash. So there you go. Obviously, right now, everything's a bit on fire at the minute. EC Idaho is in. Welcome, EC Idaho. So we have 1 for the Snazwagon. 1. 2 for the Snazwagon. We have Scale Model Muse says Snazwagons. George says Snazwagon. A Snagwagon. David Sanderson says Boom Blaster. Eon's Car says Snazwagon. Same here, but I hate the mess when I dip my brain in each cup. Hey, Saber Jane. Also, I have no idea what that refers to. Oh, here we go. Quano Man says, oh, hi, Quano Man. Says, I need 3 more coffees to wake my brain up before I can talk proper rubbish. Oh, you don't need any help to talk proper rubbish, dude. You're a master at the thing. Ian's Car says something and retracts it, and then says something and retracts it again. Quick, someone send in the Zarek, the Silent King kit. I have no idea what that is. Looking to do that and painting it on Borderlands, says Michael Storman. I've not decided, when I paint these Orc because I've not painted any of them yet. I've only got the other 2. Should I do the Borderlands paint scheme, or should I just keep them like... I don't know yet. Festa says, ooh, Booster Blaster. We'll take that as a vote for the Booster Blaster. Booster Blaster says Paul Di Tommaso. I've no idea if any of you are saying the same thing twice. George Gabriel then says Snazwagon again. I don't think you can say, but he says Snazwagon twice. Okay, it's not going to get past me. Do the red one, says Osric. That'll be the Booster Blaster. It's like Ray Winston's here, says David Sanderson. I can't stand Ray Winston. I don't know what that means, but I can't stand it. Seal Model Mew says a Snazwagon. Booster Blaster says Michael Storman. Wayne Hayward says Snazwagon. We're even. Booster Blaster says Mordraka. I'm probably going to end up counting people twice now. Colin says hi folks after saying Booster Blaster. David Sanderson, Booster Blaster. You do realise you're probably all saying it. You're doing it twice now. Snazwagon. Booster Blaster. Are you all just saying this like over and over again? I'm not really counting who's saying what. Snazwagon. Atiris says, not sure if my last message came through. Love to see you again on Fox and Friends. I vote for Snazwagon. Welcome, Atiris. Welcome, welcome. Osric says Booster Blaster. I think I've counted multiple of you now. You're all saying it multiple times, aren't you? Snazwagon from EC Idaho. William Rayborn says Snazwagon. Yeah, I think we. Oh, you keep doing multiple answers each time, but you keep keeping it balanced. Oh, your Cockney gangster voice sounded like Ray Winston, says David Sanderson. I'm offended. If I ever sound like Ray Winston again, please take me out the back and shoot me. Can't stand Ray. What geezer and all that. This is where you need Colin to read these things out. Nim says Snazzy. Booster Red Thing, says David Sanderson. Booster Blast, says Anthony H. Welcome, Anthony. Coffee and a mini that looks like Gandalf but has another name. That's not in my stash. Edward Leonard, Snazwagon. Booster Blaster. I'm going to stop now because Dan Kramer says Booster. Mordraka says Booster. We've done that one. Boomdacker Thing, says George Gabriel. That one. I'm sure you've done that now. Who drives Bartertown? Booster Blaster. Michael Starman says Booster Blaster. Right, I think we'll leave it there because it's just you're going to go on forever saying the same thing over and over. And the Booster Blaster gets it by one tick. There we go. So, Booster Blaster it is. Because that one got 13, this one's got 14. Although I think I probably counted some of you more than once. I don't think you took it in the honest spirit it was intended. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't. Sarah Jane says it has to be a Borderlands scheme though. Whatever you do, I demand a recount, says Scale Model Muse. Vote early and often, says EC Idaho. I don't think that's how voting works. So, okay, we'll do the custom Booster Blaster. Don't worry, because once we've done this, we'll just do the other one anyway. It's just which one I do first. I am tempted to do the Borderlands paint job. Oh no, I've got the other two. Like I said, I've got the the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy and the one whose name I can't remember that looks like a plane. I would get them out, but they're kind of loosely put together and they're underneath something else, which means they'll just fall apart on the base. So, yeah. Now, they are... David Sanders says, no, do it normal so I can get more tips and techniques. That's true. It is quicker to paint it normally. What was I saying? Yeah, the tricky thing with these is you can't just go ahead and build the whole thing because you do have to paint the dudes inside. I mean, look at this. It's one sprue. It's not hard. It's not a complicated build. One sprue. You do have all the dudes inside. Now, the trick there is, of course, if you build the whole thing completely, you can't then paint the dudes inside, at least not very easily. It'd be a living nightmare. So with the other two, what I've done is I've built them into sub-assemblies so that I can take them apart and get to, like, the guy in the cockpit and things like that. So we'll go along. As we go along, we'll figure out what we're building and where. Now, it is quite a simple build, this. I did have a look at it a while ago. It's not like chassis, bodywork, wheels, axles, engine. It's not that at all. It's not how it works. This is it. Quite literally. The only bodywork I can see is that. You've got some of the bodywork built into the back wheels. The engine's in two halves. You've got some interior gubbins there. I like that word, gubbins. So it's quite a simple build. But I do need to keep my wits about me, so I can figure out how I can take it apart and assemble it for painting. So we shall see how it goes. I need to keep that in mind at all times. What's paintable and what's not. So, let us crack on. Is there any information I can read out? See, this is the funny thing. It'd be good if they put like amusing information about the model, especially if they're doing it about orcs. Let's have a look. It has abilities. This unit contains one custom booster blaster. It can include one additional custom booster blaster, power rating 5, or 2 additional custom booster blasters, power rating 10. Each model is equipped with a rivet cannon and 4 burner exhausts, and each model's crew is armed with stick bombs and a grot blaster. Burner exhaust, it has an 8-inch range, is assault D3. Weapon automatically hits its target. Oh, you can use the exhaust as a weapon. I like that. Grot blaster is 12-inch range. Type pistol. SA, I don't know. I've still not actually figured out all the different numbers. Abilities. Here we go. Mob rule. Dakka. Speed mob. These are the keywords. Grot gunner. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with this model's grot blaster. Riding shotgun. When this model shoots, it can throw a grenade and shoot with its pistols in addition to any other weapons. Spiked ram. Each time this model finishes a charge move, select an enemy unit with 1 inch of it and roll a d6. On a 4+, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Explodes. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6. On a 6, it explodes and each unit within 6 inches suffers d3 mortal wounds. There you go. So there you go. Anyway, right. Let us crack on. Now, I don't know how long it'll take to make this. Will probably be like 2 streams, and then we'll just have to crack on with the next one. So I do expect I'll go through my stats quite quickly. Chris at Gross Models is in. Says, afternoon everyone. Welcome, Chris. Hello. Hope you had a good day at work, dear. Even though it's Sunday, so you won't have had a good day at work, because you won't have been at work. We're building a custom booster blaster. Where are we? Sarah Jane gets 10 internets, 10 free internets, because she says, catch a ride! Guaranteed to give you 25% more than 75% more than 13% less death and destruction. Catch a ride! I was trying to desperately, while I was saying that, remember any of his lines, and I can't. Oh well, never mind. Right, so the first thing we need to do is build to engine. Right, so I'm going to get my goggles of seeing on. If you remember, I'm not using my big visor of seeing anymore. I'm using my little goggles of seeing because I can't see anything now. Because it makes my life easier. So you don't have to have my head in shot with a big visor now. Yes. So let's crack on. Oh, a Time Team mug, says David Sanderson. Yes, indeed. And when my coffee runs out in my Time Team mug, I also have, as a backup supply, my Time Team travel mug with water in it. Oh yeah, I may have bought some things from the Time Team store. I actually ordered a mug and a travel mug. And I ordered it about 3 months ago, and something went wrong and it never got sent. So they sent me a mail saying, we're really, really sorry, we made a goof, we'll put something extra in the package to make it up to you. And then it still didn't turn up for another month. But then it did turn up, and they basically, to make up for the fact they didn't get sent the first time, they just sent 2 mugs and 2 travel mugs. I'm like, wow. So Mama Fox and I both got a mug and a travel mug each now. Right. We need parts 13 and 14. 13 and 14. If I could, I would do this entire build in a Colin voice. You won't know this, Cole, but the way you speak is basically what orcs sound like. That's what in Warhammer canon. That's actually what orcs sound like. Is you? You are an orc basically. If somebody says to me, "What do orcs sound like?" I'd say, "Go and talk to Colin for 5 minutes." So it's a shame. It's a shame, really, that I can't have you on the show doing all the talking for me. 14 and 15 we need, so we'll get them done. Cleaned up. Yeah, orcs talk like that, you say. Yeah, right. That's not. I know that's not really what you talk like, but I can't really do your voice very well. But, you know, you get the idea. My glue's ready. So, yes, if anybody ever says to me, what do orcs sound like? I say, go and watch Colin's YouTube channel for a bit. Now, there will be some mould lines and gaps and seams to fill on this thing, so we can take our time with it. So this needs to go together. We have nubulations. We have... Can you guys see okay? Shall I zoom in a bit? I think you see okay for now. Although it's a little... I'll zoom in now while I'm doing little bits. Hang on. Zooming in for little things. There we go. It's an enormous amount of zoom you got there, wasn't it? Let me know if that's too rubbishy quality for you to watch. I can zoom back out again. So we are going to have... There's 2 nubs here on each piece. I'm not going to get rid of them. As I've said many times before, if you've got a nub that goes over a gap and it's on a curved or slightly uneven surface, to make sure you don't get a step or anything, or you don't sand them separately. If I sand them separately, you might get a difference. Glue it all together first and then sand them down. The other nubs are there, so we'll do the same there. So I'm going to leave those nubs as they are. I'm going to get this glued in. There's no other nubs, I don't think. Nope. Next doors are doing something in this back bedroom here that is kind of banging noisy. I don't know what she's doing. She's doing something. So, yeah, basically if you've got two sides and they've got a nub here, both of them got a nub there. If I sand these as separate sides, then what you risk doing is sand this one a bit more and you end up with a step because you've sanded them separately. So get them together first and then sand away any nubs that go across the join, just to make sure you get everything nice and smooth. So I'll get that glued together. Flip my visor down. Now I can't see anything. I can't see nothing now. Yeah. I wish I could do Festa's voice properly. I wish I could do that kind of voice properly because I love it. I think it's a great sound. Festa, you've got a great sounding voice. Mama Fox loves it. I think it's brilliant. I wish I could do it and I can't. Now, there's some of these little mould line areas where I'm never going to be able to get to it to fill it in, but I'll fill in the bits that I can. So I'm just running the glue along the gap for the moment. Pull it apart ever so slightly to let the glue seep into the gap. This is Tamiya extra thin. And don't worry about being messy at this stage because we're going to sand all this back anyway. I'm going to drop it, of course, which is one of the things you have to do. And we're just going to squish this together. So lid back on the glue and squish. I've explained it before, but I always have to assume there might be somebody new watching. Tamiya extra thin melts the plastic a little bit. And when you squish it together, after a few seconds, the melted plastic bubbles up out of the gap and fills the gap. So once that's dry, we can then go back in and sand it back to remove the gap, and in this case, remove the nubs as well. So there we go. Anyway, I hope you're all feeling well. Somebody did ask the question earlier on, because Dad's not in the chat at the moment. Somebody did ask the question, bench and belly. It's not a gaming stream, so bench and belly. What's on your workbench right now? What are you working on? Now, it doesn't need to be a model kit. It could be a drawing. It could be a piece of music. It could be a piece of diamond art. You could be putting up shelves. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's something creative and crafty, then it's all good. So what are you working on right now, creatively? And belly-wise, what are you having for your dinner? Or what have you had for your dinner, depending on where you are in the world? Or in Nim's case, which particular flavour of ramen? Oh, who was having Chinese last night? Who was having noodles? Was it Nim? What did you have last night? Did you decide in the end? Was it pho or was it fee five, whatever it was, or the other one, or lo mein? I've never heard of lo mein. I've heard of chow mein, obviously. Chow mein's quite nice. Chow mein is one of those things that I'm always disappointed by chow mein because I always think it's going to taste a certain way and it never does. Okay, now I need to add some parts. Now I can add some bits to this because I'm going to sand this central part, but there's some bits that go on the side. So I'll add what I can that's not going to affect me cleaning up that seam line later. Let's have a look. 17 and 16. Part 17 and 16. Of course, these will be in no order, but I'm not going to do too much part finding swearing today because there's only one sprue, which is great. Now I say I have built which one is it? The Rucker Truck Squig buggy and the other one, and I did enjoy building them greatly. Unlike that monstrosity repulsor that we've just done, the Primaris repulsor, which just was a... I can't find these. That's that one there. 16 and 17. I want 18. 17, 16, 17, yes. But yeah, unlike that Primaris repulsor, which was just a ball ache to build and not enjoyable, the two orc vehicles I've built were absolutely fantastic. Some fit issues on one of them, but nothing major, and it was absolutely great fun to build. So I actually enjoyed it. And in building them, because I'd never done any orc stuff before, building them, I've not painted them yet, but I get this feeling that although I started building the Unending Forces of the Holy Contrivance, which is my Imperial Guard and Tempestus Scion army, I get the feeling that I might do a handbrake turn and end up building an orc force first before I do anything else. I don't know why. Because I had great fun building those vehicles, and I'll have great fun building these. These are only about 2 or 3 years old, these kits, so they're nicely designed. At least the ones I've built so far have been nicely designed, and they go together well. I did have great fun, and I like the humour in them. So it may well be that even though I've got like a Crusader case full of Imperial Guard, a Crusader case and a skirmish box full to the brim of unpainted Imperial Guard, I might end up doing an Orc force first. So if Adam's watching, he's not in chat right now, but if Adam's watching this, it may be that when me and you actually get together at Goblin Gaming at some point next year when the world's not on fire anymore, it might be that I'm fielding an Orc force rather than anything else. I've not painted them yet, so it might be that I end up painting Orc. Painting? I'll say that again. It might be that... I've forgotten my sanding thing. It may well be that when it comes to painting them, I don't enjoy it. I don't know yet. There's lots of, exposed flesh on Orcs. I'm not the most bestest at painting exposed flesh. Moist. I can't do close-up camera stuff because I can't get that close to the camera. Sorry. So yeah, it may be that I actually hate painting orc stuff. I don't know yet. But I don't think I will. I think I'll have a blast. But the good thing is, of course, with orc stuff, with Imperial Guard, I'll do some weathering, but they're not going to be too battered. But with orc stuff, the beauty is that orc technology is based on scrap stuff they've cobbled together. If you don't know... Now, I'm probably going to get this horribly wrong and butcher it to pieces. But my understanding of orcs is that they were created by the ancients. Orcs were created by the ancients as a weapon to defeat the Catan. I think I've got that right. Or it may be that they were created by the Catan to defeat the... I can't remember quite which one. Anyway, orcs were genetically engineered to exist. Millions of years before humans were around. They were genetically created to defeat the enemy of whoever it was that created them. I think the ancients, whatever they were called. Okay, that just goes on that way. Cool. And they were designed to do one... or they were kind of half designed because, if I remember rightly, the idea is they designed them to be primarily a weapon. But they never got past that stage, and so they really just are like organic weapons. To the point that all orcs care about is fighting. If there's no one else to fight, they'll fight each other. And that's what they do. That's what they're designed for. That's what their entire life is designed for. So to orcs, everything is about fighting. Their currency is teeth. Teeth. So if an orc wants to rob another orc, he basically just beats him up so all his teeth fall out. There you go, that's his money. They are a fungus. The orcs are a form of fungus. They're a fungal life form. They're not like... They grow from spores out of the ground, which is how they can infest planets so readily. Once you get orc-based spores on your planet, that planet's a write-off, basically. More often than not. It's all about violence. And they have, because they were genetically engineered, they have this psychic field. Now, it's not like psychic, like, oh, I can hear voices, blah, blah. 40k psychic stuff is not like your bullshit scouse pretend medium saying, I can hear Doris, and Doris is saying, Doris wasn't very well, was she? Of course she wasn't very well, she's dead, you idiot. So it's not that kind of psychic, it's like psychic powers. They have this field, this energy psychic type field, that means that orcs can basically take two objects and just assemble something with no real idea of how it works. But because they want it to work, it will work. So they could basically cobble together a car without any real understanding of how a car works, but because they want it to work, it just works. So if they they could basically take 3 pieces of wood, nail them together, and if they wanted it to be a plane, it would fly and have weapons. That's how orcs work. So all their stuff is made of bits of scrap and stuff they find on the battlefield and old abandoned bits of machinery, and they just kind of cobble it together and it just works, but they don't know how it works. And this is kind of what makes orcs kind of a tough reckoning, because they don't know how their own technology works, it just works. So, you can't backwards engineer it. And they can take anything. But that means that all their stuff is like found debris and bits of plate from other vehicles and other weapons and bits of machinery that they find here and there that's scavenged. So it's all basically rusted and old, and it's stuff they found. And that is so much fun for a model maker who likes weathering like me. Which I'm all about the weathering. I don't like clean things. So, to me, the idea of orcs, where it's all rusty and it's been sat on it's a rusted out, they come along and they find a knackered old Space Marines rhino, they rip it to shreds and repurpose it as something else. It's all rusted and beaten and knackered, and I love that. So, more than Space Marines and Imperial Guard, I can have my fun with the weathering. That's the idea, you see. I think I've got that right about them anyway. That's roughly how orcs work. They have this built-in circa ability to it just works. And it's an ability given to them by the species that engineered them millions of years before humans were a part of the picture. I think, anyway, that's roughly how it works. But yeah, I just love the idea that they're almost like comic relief in Warhammer. They're just kind of a bit silly, but humorous. They're kind of like football hooligans, but slightly lovable, even though they're not. So in orc society, everything is fungal. So orcs are, a fungal life form. Grots are a sort of a smaller form of orc. They're not like young orcs, I don't think. They're just a different type of orc, but they're like smaller and more diminutive. And you have grotling. What do you have now? I get confused. You've got orcs, you've got grots, which are the little dudes. You've got snotlings, which are even smaller, I think. Although I get confused between the 40k and the fantasy stuff. You've got squigs, which are another basic. Squigs are basically another form of orc, but they're just a completely different form of orc. They're like it's a fungal life form, but it's like an animal that orcs farm for their meat, for their food, as beasts of burden, as weapons. Squigs are like their universal creature. But yeah, the fungi. I love the idea they grow from spores. Fantastic. that bit. But there's just something endearing about them. And I had so much fun building the first two vehicles that I'm starting to think, I might actually just do orcs. But then the downside of that is, whereas there are like a billion different things that you can buy for like Imperial Guard or the other factions, orcs, there's not that much variety. There's a few there's a few different packs of figures, but they're all really old. There's not a lot of new stuff. You've got these vehicles that came out a couple of years ago for the Speed Freaks set, and then they were released individually. But there's not a lot else. There's a few bits on Forge World, which of course aren't cheap. There's some grot tanks and other bits and bobs, and there's squigoths and things like that. But it's the long standing strip. But sadly, they do suffer from a lack of variations. If you build an orc army, you're basically buying the 10 pack of orc boys and a couple of packs of orc knobs and the other bits and bobs, and that's kind of it really. There's not a lot of variation. And some of the vehicle kits are really old and really bad. Like the Death Copter. It's not very good. Although they do have, unlike every other faction, well, unlike Imperial faction, there's no Games Workshop plastic kits of the fighter vehicles, like the fighter aircraft. If you want like Imperial fighter aircraft, you have to go to Forge World, and they're very expensive and they're resin. Whereas for the orcs, they've got like the boom. Remember the little planes that Chris did on his for his Aeronautica Imperialis on his live stream on his Warhammer Sunday. Big versions of them, like the boom Dakar snap. No, that's not right. The blasters. I can't remember the names. They're basically fighter planes and bombers, but orc. They're made of scraps. Now, have a look at chat. Let's have a quick look at chat because we did ask the Bench and Belly. Right. I've always hated it, to be honest, says Colin. Hated what? What have you hated? Come here, Colin. Dr. Dan needs to check your orky bits. What have you always hated, Cole? I've got the Sniffles. Sarah Jane started the Hasegawa Ferrari 312T 120 scale. It's got 199 parts. Struth. Wow, that's pretty good. More Draka. Bench Typhus Herald of Nurgle. Belly toasted cheese, chicken and ham sandwich. Ooh. Anthony H. A can of lager. Haha. Have it. Scale Model Muse. Haven't eaten yet. It's 11:30 AM ish. More than easily close to lunchtime. Colin says, Belly cup of tea installing Fallout 4 on Steam. Fallout 4, get in. Have you played Fallout 4 before? If not, you're going to enjoy it. How's DS9 going, by the way, Col? Are you still on Season 1? Just checking in, just making sure you're still watching. I need to move my mat. Hang on. Hang on. I love my noodle rugs to bits, but they get in the way of the chair sometimes. Yes, Colin has decided, after me nagging him for months and months, that he's going to watch all of DS9. I think he's still going through Season 1. He's enjoying it, he says, so it's good. Osric 9000 says, Bench sub-assemblies of the tram. Belly tonight, a massive pile of Mexican chili and rice. Yes. Nim had sesame chicken and pork dumplings. I posted a picture in the Boom Hut yesterday. Oh, cool. I've not actually had a proper look through the Boom Hut yet. It's my own group, and I hardly get time to look through it. It's terrible. Eon's car. Bench Nout. Belly in 30-ish minutes. Chicken smiles. And steak cut chips. What's a chicken smile? That sounds... excuse me. That sounds like something out of Sam and Max. Like beef paws and chicken lips. Chicken smiles. Weasel on a stick. EC Idaho. Dinner will be beef stroganoff. Ooh, one of my favourites. Bench Monogram Revel JU87G1 Stuka. Rebuilding the first kit I ever built about 46 years ago. That should be a challenge, but rewarding if you can pull it off. Wayne Hayward. Belly extra mature cheddar cheese and Branston pickle sarnie. Ooh, yeah. Bench assorted Star Wars Legion and Judge Dredd stuff. Cool. Phil Lewis is in this afternoon all. Sarah J says a large cafetiere of coffee and scrambled eggs on toast, soon followed by Bakewell tarts and Jaffa cakes. You've done it again with the... Oh. We said about this yesterday, about mentioning Jaffa cakes and things. Jaffa cakes is typed in invisible type, she says. I don't think your invisible type button's working. Damn it. This Adam is listening and watching, but has very few orcs, it says at Eon's car. Aha. I meant raging bassist, but yes. Orcs. Oh, orcs, cause they're a thing, says Fester. Yeah, orcs, cause it's a thing. Psychers in 40k are like, I can kill you with a single thought or I'll summon a demon of. Yes. Yeah, psychics is not like nonsense scouse, rip-off con merchant scouse psychic type nonsense. If you don't know, by the way, the reason I keep saying scouse is because there was some famous psychic medium who died like a couple of years. I can't remember his name now. They're complete charlatans. All of them are complete con men, con women. There's no such thing, and they're just stealing. They're just taking money off vulnerable people, and it should be illegal. It should be illegal. I firmly believe that. YouTube is eating things again, says Muse. That's bad to hear that. Snotling, says David Sanderson. I think they're like miniature grots. You get orcs, grots, and snotlings. I think it's very confusing because some of them are not 40k. Some of them are Warhammer. The other Warhammer, the fantasy stuff. More orcs, psychers are more like, wow, Mork axe them humies ripped into the warp with half the orcs around them. Yes. Jamie Bone is in. I've made a mess of that. I do apologise. I can't go too loud, you see. I can't blast the microphone. Jamie Bone's in. Hi, Jamie. Hated my voice, says Colin. Mama Fox loves it, so you should love your own voice. No hate. Nope, says Muse. Orc flyers. Burner bomber, blitzer bomber, a Waz bomb blaster jet. All can be made from one kit. I love that. Waz bomb. I love the names of them. Derek O'Cora, that's the one. Absolute thieving. I just think psychics are scum. It's a controversial thing to say, but they're all liars and they're all taking money off people, and they're all scum. So, all mediums and psychics, it's just scum. Graham M. Continuing the boat build accompanied by a glass of white wine. That sounds very civilized, I do say. Very civilized. Yes. Yeah, yes, I'm a complete rational, scientific thinking skeptic. So, to me, mediums and psychics are just con artists and should be punished legally under the law. Should be a law against it. Right, what am I doing with this now? I've got no idea. Other way around, you simpleton. This goes like that. Like that, you'll see. That's still cool because I can still get to the bits with the seam line, so I can glue that on. It's no problem. This pit goes on there and is like a little carburetor. What would that be on a real engine? These like exhausty bits. It's not an exhaust because that's normally where a carb would be, I guess. But is that like an air grabber? It could be an air grabber. Oh, no, it's got little valves on. You can't see, but it's got little flaps like carb intakes. That's probably the carburetor intake, isn't it? I'll glue that on because I've got to clean that seam line up, but I can still get to it without attacking those intakes. So we'll glue that on. Get it on there. Get it on. Yes, I've no time for psychics and mediums. It's just thieving scum. Taking money off vulnerable people. Taking money off the vulnerable and the stupid. It's glued on because that won't affect any mould lines and seam lines. I love the idea they can just assemble things without really knowing how they work, and they just work. I think that's the best thing ever because that's the way they were engineered. Still need to trim my moustache and beard a bit. I meant to do it today and I forgot because it's still tickling my upper lip or my nose or both because it's getting a bit sticky out now. There we go. That's there. That's that bit on. Paul Di Tommaso says my Orc jet is a mashup of different designs. That's the intake for the blower supercharger like Mad Max Interceptor. I thought it was something like. I thought it was either. I knew it wasn't an exhaust. You can just about see there's like a tube and there's the little valve, the little flap on the inside that goes like on a carburetor. So that's what I was assuming. I like the fact they've added that detail in. You can just about see it. I mean, you guys probably can't see it, but you can just about see it in there. Anyway, next bit. We've done that one. We need parts 15 and 18. Oops. Parts 15 and there's 18 there. These are the rocker covers. Now, I've got no technical knowledge at all, right? I've got no real... I'm not mechanically minded at all. I'm rubbish at that nonsense. I've just got no idea at all. I can't even wire a plug, I kid you not, without having a guide. But when I was much younger, many years ago, when I had a Mark II Fiesta, Ford Fiesta, I needed to... I think I mentioned it before. It had like a... It had some very slight pitting on one of the top of on the engine block that meant that dampness and moisture got in. It was always a pain in the bum because it wouldn't start. And I needed to change a gasket that goes between the rocker cover and the engine block. And normally, because I'm useless at such things, I would have just taken it to the garage and you just stick a gasket on there for us, dude. And, you know, obviously do it. But I think I was short of cash for some one day. So I went to the local, there was like a... In the village near me, there used to be a place that sold car bits, basic car stuff. So I got myself at the relevant gaskets, and basically just took the engine apart. I took the rocker cover off and you know, took all the sparks out and all that kind of stuff. Did all that, put the gasket in, and while I was there, I can't remember exactly what prompted me to do it, but I even got the camshaft out and cleaned it because it was all gunky and horrible. I even somehow managed to take out the camshaft and clean it. And as I did that, I suddenly... I don't even remember if I may have had a Haynes manual available, I'm not sure. And I suddenly understood exactly how engines work at that point. I suddenly like, oh wait, this is really easy. Because it was such a basic engine. It was the old Ford pre-Z-Tech. I can't remember, something that began with Z, but not a Z-Tech. It was such a simple design that I looked at the parts and had an instant understanding of how exactly engines work. I've glued them on the wrong side. Oh, I've glued these bits on the wrong side. It doesn't really matter, I suppose. Oh well. I glued them bits on the wrong side. Never mind, I wasn't paying attention. Doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Okay, well that's fine. So I've got these bits the wrong way around, but it doesn't actually matter. I don't think there's any fit issues as a result of that. Let me just double check. I can't get them off now without ruining them, so that should be... Yeah, they're exposed to the open air. It's no problem. Whew. So yeah, so I took the rocker cover off, took the camshaft out, and looking at the shape of the cam with its offset teardrop, and I was like, oh, now I understand how the engine works. Because it was so simple. And then someone actually had occasion then to have to explain to someone how an engine works. And I was like, I know how that works now because I've taken one apart and I'm a big boy. And I felt really great that I'd figured it out. You know, I didn't know I'm not mechanically minded. But it wasn't because I read a thing. It was purely because... let me just get some glue on this. Purely because on those old engines, you had the camshaft with its that kind of shape, like a square wave synthesizer, and it had the teardrop shape, I assume, cams that went round, and it became obvious then that, you know, the explosion happens in the piston. I don't know the words. The piston chamber. The piston goes up. That moves the rocker move around, and that turns the axle. I get it, and I figured it out, and I'm like, I'm dead clever, me. Unfortunately, now 35 years later, I can't remember how it actually went in my mind, so I can't tell you. There we go, a bit of an engine. You've never seen me make an engine before. Now this needs to go on to... no, it doesn't. That needs to go over there. I should get my little container of containers. Ghost Rider says, afternoon. Welcome, Ghost Rider. Welcome to my stream. Little bit of Coca-Cola. I rebuilt my Mark I Fiesta 1300cc gear engine and it started first time. Built solely by following the Haynes manual. Quite proud of that, says Sojin. Yeah, mine was a Mark II, I think, but same kind of thing. I had the basic Haynes manual that said do this, that and the other, but even then, even if you give me a Haynes manual, I'll still mess it up. I still can't follow basic instructions, as you find out every time you watch me build something. Like, you know, getting these bits on the wrong side. Yeah. I was quite proud. I can't say that my engine started first time there, because even though I replaced the gasket, the little micro pits in the top of the engine block meant moisture still got in and it still failed to start. If it was ever so slightly, even if the day was not raining but a bit damp, it would take hours before the car would just start. Because any hint of moisture in there, when I took the rocker cover off and looked inside, it was just all white, foamy crap because the moisture got in and the oil went horrible. And yeah, I'm going to zoom out a bit now because we're getting a bit bigger. No, my zoom's not spectacular on this camera, but there you go. Anyway, how are we looking and sounding? I hope the sound's all right, and I hope is the picture okay? Are we looking nice and clean and crisp, camera-wise, image-wise? Excuse me. We need 33 and 34. So 34. I don't know if you'll see the detail on that, but it's got like a barrel there, and you've got all these cog wheels for the engine area. Oh, I love it. Love all the detail. So crisp, little sort of like little meters, pressure gauges. It's so detailed. If you've never heard me say it before, I really do rate Games Workshop most of the time as one of the best model kit manufacturers. Not for the subject of the models, but for the quality of the build and the quality of the models. They are simple. They're not complex. They're not like 500-part builds. They're streamlined, and they're just immensely great fun to build. And not a lot of other manufacturers manage to get close to that. But their actual molds, when it's proper official GW stuff and not Warhammer Conquest, their actual mouldings are just beautiful. Let's get this cleaned up. Clean up time. Chat says, all good Fox. Paul says, thank you very much. I really wish Reaper sent all their minis unbuilt, says Muse. I think that's just how mini Reaper do, though, isn't it? You're not really buying them as kits, you're buying them as pre-prime, pre-assembled. That's how Reaper do. I can't see the chat. I have to flip my things up every time. The crankshaft bearings went on mine. It kept them as a souvenir, says Sarah Jane. I've still got it in the garage outside. You know the garage at the back of our house? Well, you don't know it, obviously. I don't know why I said that. I've mentioned many times that the garage at the back of our house is kind of decrepit, and because we don't really use it. We've not got, the car won't fit up the drive. We've not got a driveway that permits a car to go all the way up. So it was always more of just a storage garage. And we've never really had anything to store in it for the last 30 years. So it's kind of decrepit. The roof's collapsed in, and whatever's in there is beyond any hope. But right at the back, there is a radiator grill for my old Sierra that I sold like 25 years ago. I had a Sierra, big 5-door estate. I loved it. I bought it off a friend for like £100 in the late 90s, but this thing was an absolute mint showroom condition. It was a vintage 1980 something, big long Sierra Sapphire. It was 5-door Sierra Sapphire in like brown or something, some ungodly colour. But it was in perfect. The engine was perfect. The bodywork was perfect. It was like it just rolled off the factory floor. 200 quid, about 300 quid he sold it to me for. And the radiator went. But because I'm so inept at anything technical, of course, anytime something goes wrong on a car, I just panic and I get really depressed. Because even when I get a flat tyre, nowadays, of course, like a couple of weeks ago, I got a flat tyre on my car, and you just phone a little man and he comes and replaces it. But back in the late 90s, if something goes, like the radiator was leaking, and I had to drive all the way, middle of summer, driving through Wales on the hottest summer day of the year with the heater on full whack because I was stuck in traffic going up through Wales, coming back from Aberystwyth. No, real, actually. Traffic was queued up, and I'm in queuing traffic on a big A road, and I had to have the heater on full blast to keep the engine cool. So when something goes wrong, it's like, in those days, it's like, how the hell am I going to get it to a garage to get it fixed? It's going to cost me a foot. And I just got panicked. So in the end, what I did was, I can't remember how, but I got myself a replacement radiator. I don't know how I did it without actually having an internet. Can't remember. So I got a replacement radiator, which then I thought, I'll just do it myself. It can't be that hard. I've got my Haynes manual. I'll pop the old one out. I'll put a new one in. Never did. And it sat there for about 3 months. And then somebody came to the door one day, as tended to happen in those days when they saw old cars, and said, "You want to sell your car?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Because I got used to not having a car by that point for the previous 3 months of not changing the radiator because it was making me panic. So I sold it, and I've still got the radiator that I bought. So it's in the garage. It's been there for like 25 years now. Well beyond repair, I would suspect. Yeah, I am kind of rubbish. There's no getting around it. I just suck. Because I'm not technically minded, when something breaks, I just want to phone a little man who will come and make it work again. I don't want to have to think about... I'm not one of these people, like I used to read in Land Rover magazine. People would be there and they say, "Yeah, I was driving along and there was a big crunk and half the differential fell out. So I limped home and then I set to with some replacement parts and fixed it." And I'm like, if I was doing that and I got halfway somewhere and something fell out, I'd just have to go off and live in a cave for the rest of my life in shame and despair. And then lo and behold, it actually happened to me one day. I was going somewhere, and then like half a mile from my house, there was a loud clunk and half the diff fell off on the front axle. And I managed to limp it home just about. Oh no, I had to call the AA, because I was with the AA at the time. I had to call the AA to tow my Land Rover like the half mile back to my house, which cost me a fortune. And then I sold it. Rather than get it fixed, I sold it. So yeah, I just panic when things don't work. I'm not technically minded at all. Which is why I kind of hope I win the lottery one day, so that when something breaks, I can just buy a new one. That would be the best solution for me, the less stress-free solution. It's just, if it breaks, yeah, buy a new one. And I live with the constant fear that one day the Foxmobile will be irreparable. Or irreparable, as we like to prefer to say. That something will happen to that. Because if that happens... it's just a car, but it'd be like, well, I can't afford to buy a new one, and even if I could, it would be a car with a boring ass paint job. Once you've had a car painted like a rat rod with a giant shark mouth down the side of each side, you can't really go back to driving a red car or a brown car or a blue car. It just doesn't. It's not the same. Especially when you've actually painted it yourself, when you've spent a weekend adding fake paint chips to it and painting on a shark mouth by hand. I mean, by hand, by spray gun, obviously. But I painted it myself, so... yeah, I can't really go back to having a blue car, a white car, because that's boring. I also live in constant fear that at some point, if I drive my car into like a gate post or a wall or have a bit of a crash or a ding somewhere, I'll be equally screwed, because... the paint job I've got on my car I got free because myself and another guy at the time were doing detailing work, and we had access to a body shop and we had access to all the relevant paints and materials, so we worked on it, and there's a video on my channel how we did it, and that was absolutely free. But if I went to someone now and said, "Hi, I've got this custom paint job, here's how I did it, can you do this on this one panel that you need to replace?" that'll be like $5,000. Yeah. So I can never afford to crash it, scrape it, ding it, or replace it. I really hope it lasts forever. I don't think it will. Look at chat. Let's have a look. Well, with the doc... Mordraka says, "Well, with the doctors and blood test early this morning, I'm going to call it a night and catch the rest of the stream later." Thanks for coming in, Mordraka. Take care of yourself. Good luck at the doctor with the blood test and stuff. Take care, sleep well, and good luck. Not primed, but some are not assembled, says Muse. I thought they were pre-primed. Sadly, not this one. Miss the days of cars that you could fix your own via a manual, says Muse. Yeah, I was never that technically minded, so the fact that I did that with the engine once still blows my mind to this day, because even now, I don't know how I did it. It's like, I don't know how I got... where did I get that radio? In the days before the internet, when I didn't have the internet here, where the hell did I buy a Sierra Sapphire radiator from? I've got no idea. Mickle Pickle is in. Hey, Mickle Pickle, not seen you around for a while. Good to have you back, buddy. Right, now this needs to go. I'm going to put the instructions up there so I can see them. This needs to go like that. So that sits on there. So you've got all this cogginess, all these cogs here that are obviously bits for the gear. They're not gears for the drive shaft for the wheels. I like that. That's awesome. Now it does say to, I think the instructions say to paint all these bits first, but I don't know how much of this will be visible when it's assemblated. I can look ahead and check. I mean, there's not much option for me to paint things in advance because I need to build things in advance. But I might have to do it in multiple stages, you see. So this can, I think this can just get glued on anyway. It doesn't really matter, I don't think, if it goes on now. So we'll get this bit glued in. Roger, gluing now. Yeah, so I'm kind of warming to the idea of orc stuff, especially on the idea that if you mess something up, like if I'm doing like a regular like Imperial Guard vehicle or something and I mess something up, I can kind of hide my sins with a little bit of plastic card as long as it kind of fits with the general design. So that tank, that Lehman Russ I'm redoing for Tabletop Trauma Centre, I've added some plastic card strips and rivets to hold, you know, to cover up big massive gaps that the original builder left, and it kind of fits. But with Orc, if I make a mess of the big on Orc vehicle, I can put bits of plastic card on there to look like aluminium sheets or bits of riveted steel plating or anything. I could just cobble together anything. It doesn't really matter because it's made of scrap anyway. Now, these two bits need to go together. Theoretically, like something like that. Now, I will say straight away, I'm getting flashbacks to me Primaris Repulsor, where it's just, it goes together with a hint of glue and a suggestion rather than actual things to lock in place. But I think there's a straight edge there. It's probably a bit more receptive to not being in the wrong position. However, it still seems a bit tenuous. How many people have built this and ended up with that not quite straight, so all the wheels are at different heights? I'd wager quite a few, probably. Now, if I had a flat surface, it's not really flat though, is it? If I got something solid and flat, look at this. That would work. Needs to be, because this desk isn't flat, unfortunately, so that sits like that. Oh, I think it sits like that. I've still got nubs to take off the engine block, but that's fine. I don't know if it's supposed to sit flat or sit raised up or exactly how. I'm probably overthinking it vastly here, to be perfectly honest. You've got some armour that goes on the side. I don't think it really makes too much difference. Other than the wheels might stick up a little bit. Let's leave it off for the moment. Let's not stick it on just yet. I don't think we can get away with leaving that from. We'll put part 11 on the top there. We've not done that bit yet. Okay, let's not glue it on just yet. Fox, you bought it from Market Dave, says David Sanderson. Only me and you know who that is. Yeah. I was sad when he got mugged. He's probably not with us anymore. Market Dave, good God. Sarah Jane, I used to do rallying in a Mark II Escort. Used to go to the Scrappy for parts. Great fun. One of the cars we were due to work on, which I left before we did it. But one of the cars we were due to do some work on was an original Mark I Escort that the guy was having done up as a rally car to look like some famous rally driver's Mark 1 Escort from back in the day. And he even had like toolkits in the back in leather pouches made to look just like the original racer's toolkit. It was basically recreating an original Mark 1 rally car in perfect detail. And I can't remember who. I don't know anything about rally, so it was a very nice car. But I left before it got to that part of the process. Right, now it's only been, what, about 45 minutes. We might be able to do some work on these mould lines. It might be long enough. You don't have to leave these for 24 hours to cure. Sometimes these can be workable within 45 minutes, half an hour. We've got nubs and we've got the seam line to fill. So let's just see if we can scrape the nubs off first. Now remember, these were a nub on either side. And if we'd done these individually, we risked having a step because we'd make the different sides different heights. At least this way, I can get rid of the nub and sand it in such a way that it maintains smooth surface. I can make sure each side is the same height basically. So we'll get that nub off. We've got a nub down here on the drive shaft. I can't say drive shaft and not think of Charlie from Lost. You own everybody. Yeah, I can't not think of Lost. Poor Charlie. It wasn't Penny's boat after all. Shed a cheer for Charlie. Okay, so that can scrape down. Now I got rid of the nubs with the knife, but what I want to do is I want to reduce my sanding to as little as possible. I'll zoom in a bit for you again so you can see. Not that I know it's not exactly high def viewing here, but yeah, we've got this the mould line here, the gap. This mould line removal tool, what I like to do, especially on curvy surfaces, is use this to smooth off. I've got rid of most of the nub, but I want to use the mould line tool to get rid of the bead of glue that runs down the middle, as if it was a mould line. But the reason I'm using this and not the knife is because the knife blade is flexible and will skitter along. If it meets a little bump or lump, it will skitter and it risks scratching up the surface. And because it's flexible, of course, if it does meet a little bump or lump, it'll just jump around and may not leave you with a nice, smooth and even surface. With the mould line removal tool, or any similar type thick steel bladed object, this blade ain't going nowhere. It's not flexible. If it sees a lump, it just shaves it out of the way, grinds it down. So it can give you a much smoother surface, especially if you want to keep your sanding to a minimum. When it removes the bead of glue, it gives you a much smoother finish. There's less to clean up, less scratching and scraping. And it just means when you do then sand it, your sanding is less, because all you've got to do is really just a little bit of tiny sanding, nothing major. It just gives you a bit of an easier time of it than using a knife blade. And especially there's a little step, if there are any little steps in two sides, like if it was moulded a bit and there's one bit's a little higher than the other, it helps reduce that as well, whereas a blade will just bend out of the way. So, well, it's not ideal. There are some places where you have to use a blade because you can't quite get this big fat tool in there. But it just gives you a bit of an easier time when trying to get rid of mould lines and seam lines and your own glue lines. Here's a bit. There is a little step at this bit at the back. That's just in the moulding. It's not me that's done that. So we'll have to sand that bit. But again, remember, this is an auger vehicle, so it doesn't matter if things are a bit out of shape or not quite sanded straight, because it's an auger vehicle. It's made of scrap. If I do get two bits where it's not quite lined up properly, that's fine. Take my sanding sponge and go over that surface there on this side first of all. If you've got compound curved surfaces, always use a sanding sponge if you can. A sanding stick's fine, but a sanding sponge, as well as you doing that to keep the curve, it also conforms to the curve a bit anyway. Again, makes your life easier. 99% of model making is about the path of least resistance. If there's a way to do something that takes you an hour, but there's also another way to do it and it looks just as good and it takes 10 minutes, go for this. There's no point making extra work for yourself. I'm going to use the file on this just to get rid of the little, there's a bit of a concavity and there's a nub in the middle, so I'm just going to hold it up to the light. It looks kind of smooth. Now it might seem strange that sometimes I use a file and sometimes I use the mold tool, and it's hard for me to put into words how I know which one to use. It's kind of instinctive. You get to learn your tools and what they do after a while. Like, I know this file is a lot less aggressive than this file and it will leave less marks. But this file will do work quicker than this one and can be sanded back as well. So it's weird. Somehow you just know sometimes the best tool to use. It's hard. It's not always possible to explain why or how you know that. It just is. The brush on that. That is the brush. There's the brush. I'm looking for the brush on the desk, but I can't quite see because of my glasses, my magnifying thing on my glasses. Now, for some of these bits, I will have to use a knife blade because I can't get the mold tool down in there. On the top of this bit here. Now, it's a tiny, tiny little mold line of glue, or bead of glue, so I don't need to do too much. That is enough. That is enough to clean that. This old sanding sponge. I may not even be able to get the sanding sponge in there, but it's actually fairly smooth anyway. But that's fine. You're not going to see that when it's painted up. There is a bit of you do get a bit of a mold line on the inside of this big air grabber here, which I don't know if you can see. On the inside here, there's like the same mold line. I can't get in there to clean that out. I can't get in there to sand it. I can't get in there to file it, because if I file it, I can't sand it afterwards. I'm just going to have to leave that. I will actually file the edge. I'll get that on there on the edge, just to get it away from the edge. So at least the edge looks solid. Let's go for that one. But I can't get a tool in there to clean that bit up. So if I get rid of the seam line on the edge, like that, so at least the edge looks solid, then what that does is it tricks the eye a little bit. And it looks like if the edge here, going around here, is solid, it makes it look like that line here is meant to be there. Just because you haven't got that line carrying on around the edge, and your eye thinks, well, it's only on that surface there and not another one. So it's probably not a seam line. It's obviously meant to be there. And in reality, you probably won't see it anyway. But yeah, sometimes if you can't get to a line to get rid of it, sometimes just tricking people into seeing things that aren't there, or convincing them it's meant to be there, is the better option. You're never going to get rid of every single gap and seam and mold line on a kit. There'll always be some situations where you can't shift all of it. Do that a bit more. It's not an infallible process. There'll always be some things that you just can't do, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That's where things like covering stuff with plastic card comes in handy, or getting creative in how you cover things up. If you can repair something, then brilliant. If you can't, what's the best way to cover it up or distract from it? Hold that to the light. That's looking nice and smooth. We've got a little bit of a gap there with a bead of glue on the back. Just a tiny bit. Now I can't really do too much of this again because I can't get really any tools in there. I can get the knife blade in there. That's as good as it gets. I'm not going to see this anyway. There we go. And I will be putting some gunk and dirt on this. It won't, if you look at the box art, it's all nice and clean. No, this will be a gunky, scrappy vehicle. We won't be having a nice clean paint job on this. And I think that's, I've got this bit to do as well, haven't we? Down here, you see there's lovely. Got the drive shaft. Now you're probably never going to see the drive shaft because it's underneath and it's going to be glued to the base. But, oh, excuse me, matron. If you're wondering why I've started burping on my live streams lately, I did explain on a stream the other day. It's because burping's funny, and I usually try my best not to burp on stream. But I just can't be bothered anymore. We're all grown-ups here. Burping's funny. Okay, that's the drive shaft there. You all, everybody. Poor Charlie. Now there are some recessed bits in there, which I'm going to try and get with the knife. Scraping tool's too big. They're not fine enough little recesses that I can use my scribing tool to clean them out. So I'm just going to have to use the knife blade here. As you saw, I used the scribing. I used the mold line tool on the raised bits, but these recessed bits not quite as easy. But again, once this is painted up, this will be covered in dirt and grime anyway. It's not the end of the world if it's still got a little bit of a line there. Also, the fact it's underneath doesn't really matter too much. But it's nice to clean it up. But pick your battles. Know when it's worth doing something, and know when there's no point doing it at all. If you're going to glue this to the base, there's almost no reason to worry about that. That's going to be underneath, behind wheels. You're not going to see it. You could be forgiven for just leaving that and not worrying about it. But I'm going to clean it anyway. There's a little bit here. This mould line and this edge here. This may be under panelling for all I know, not even visible, but I'll get rid of it. I will do my duty. It's all about picking your battles. It always amuses me when you see, actual box art on a Games Workshop kit sometimes. I can't remember, I can't give you a specific example from memory, but there's occasional one where you'll look at it and you'll see a seam line that they've not cleaned up. And it's just like, even hardcore pros sometimes don't bother with everything. Okay, so that's pretty good. I need to wipe my nose again because I've got the snifflies. Have a quick look at chat. So yeah, you don't need to leave, if you do this seam line gluing, you don't need to leave things for 24 hours before you can go back and sand them. A good 45 minutes, to an hour will be fine if you're doing the glue squishy technique. Especially if it's something you're going to be weathering up anyway. If you're making something nice and neat and shiny, like a gumplet or a car or something, I'd say leave it 24 hours and then come back and sand back. But you'd probably also be using fillers and things like that. So, yeah. Part number 11. Where are we? I thought Market Dave died, but apparently he's still alive in a home. That was years ago. I think he's long dead now. For the millions of people that have no idea who Market Dave was, in the 70s, 80s and 90s and early 2000s, there was a guy that lived in a town. Dave Sanderson lived close to me. And there was a guy that lived in the town near us. I'm not saying where that town is. Lived in the town near us, and he was basically walk along with this massive steel mine cart, effectively. This big trolley, and he'd collect scrap metal. But he'd basically just walk around going, "Oi, oi," and he was like, if you walk past him, he'd just shout abuse at everybody. But he was much loved by the whole community. And you'd go into like one of the local pubs and he'd be in there and he'd be at the bar going, "Oi!" And there was always the rumour that he was a multimillionaire. He was like a scrap metal guy, but I don't think he was. But he about mid 2000s he got beaten up and mugged, and there was a massive outcry in the local surrounding towns because he was a local character. And he didn't die, but he went into a home. But I don't think he's still around now. He was old then, so information's few and far between, sadly. Ray Aquilina's in. Hey Ray from Malta, how you doing, buddy? And then Graham M says, I think I need to do the walk of shame. I bought an 18-year-old Mazda 626 as a second-hand car last week. It's painted in that Grandad champagne colour. The horror. No, it's cool now. Oh, well, then again, it's a Mazda 626. Yeah, it's alright, it's cool. I actually prefer old cars. I mean, that's not really that old, but I do actually prefer old cars. I love cars with solid plastic wheels, because cars with like squishy organic wheels is boring to me. Although I do love my current Fiesta, but it's purely because of the paint job. Need part number 11. Now we need part number 11, yeah, das ist richtig. It's a tiny part. It's part number 10. Don't want that one. Yeah, it's 11, yeah, das ist richtig. 11, gefahren. Wrap it up, might be easier. 11. I'm looking for a part based on, because they're in no order on the sprue, I have to look at the actual shape. Or in this case, a tiny part. I don't even know what 11 looks like. It's just a tiny part on the engine. It's 89. It's weird to think there's like, 60 or 70 parts on this one single sprue. 14. Here we go. I said we wouldn't be doing the part hunting on this because it's such a small sprue, and here we are doing the part hunting. 20. Where the hell is... I think what I need is somebody to be building a kit at the same time so I can say, where is it? And they can say, it's there. Okay, part number 11. Which is a tiny, tiny little greeble that goes on top of the... All that time I spent trying to sand that little nub down, there's a greeble going to go on top of it, assuming I can find it. So I could have not bothered clearing that away so much. 50, 49, 46, 53, 47, 5, 2, 66, 41, 19, 54, 27, 32, that's wheels. 3, 30, 24, 26, 32, 27, 31, 43, 29, 24, that's a wheel. 19, 1, 60, that's a head. 23, 28, 22, 14, 18, 44, 42, 72, 35, 69, 68, 70, 21, 40, 39, 65, 71, 58, 63, 57, 62, 59. I can't find this part. There's one sprue and I can't find this part. I literally cannot find part 11. It's a tiny little square piece and I cannot find it. Literally, I just not... Where is it? I'd be worried that I'd already maybe cut it off the sprue by accident, but we've got literally one sprue. And I'm not finding this one single piece. For the love of dog, somebody, if you've got this kit in your stash, please go and get it now and find part 11 on the sprue and tell me where the hell it is, because I can't find it. I got it late. Oh, hang on. Ah, there we go. It's there. I didn't even realise that was a piece. I thought it was just a bit of... Oh, do you know? I really wish they need to understand that there's an etiquette to having parts upside down on the sprue. Because from the back, it's just a flat shape. On that side, it's an actual Mork or Gorka Mork head. But the number's on that side. Come on, GW. Sort out your shiz. There we go. Right, you don't need to go and get it from your stash now. Jesus Christ. I'm an old man. Shut up. What? Shut up. Right, we're still zoomed in, but we're doing little things. But yes, I'm falling for the orc stuff purely because I get so much leeway, because it is meant to be scrap. It gives you a lot of leeway to screw things up and then fix it in post, if you know what I mean. Like, if that doesn't fit together very well, just jam some plastic card over it and make it look like a piece of panelling that's been bolted on. Because my very good buddy from Australia, Kenneth, sent me a big pack of, well, packs of rivets, of course. I could add lots of little bits of plating to this. And make it look mint. That needs to go. I assume that goes that way. Now, here we go. Do we want this Gorka Mork head on here? I assume it's Gorka Mork. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it at a jaunty angle, because I think straight would look a bit boring. Whereas, then again, people will go, oh, you've not glued it on straight. It's one of those things that looks like it should be straight. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do it straight. Go on then, I'll do it boring and do it straight. How much glue? There's no peg for this, it just sits on the top. I can squidge it in place with my magic tool of nonsense. aka this file that happened to be right next to where my hand is. Thing is, if you do something at a jaunty angle, it always looks good. But if it's supposed to be glued on straight and you don't get it exactly straight, you can tell it's not exactly straight. Whereas if it's at a jaunty angle, you never know. If it's not quite in the middle, nobody knows. For example, on that big Millennium Falcon I did, I messed up the decal that goes on the middle centre of the... If you wonder why I glued that bit, it's because I've got a sort of when I dragged it around a bit, I got a sort of munge of the plastic, so I'm putting a load of glue on there to melt it all flat, and then I'll give it a quick sand in a bit, just to smooth it all off. If you ever do that, if you ever glue a piece in and then you have to move it, and you get that kind of dredge of plastic where it's kind of gone, and it's gone a bit glunky, just get some more glue on it to melt it flat, and then just give it a quick sand later on. So that just means I can get that nice and flat now. Yeah, the cockpit tube, cockpit window, decal that goes right in the centre at the top, it's kind of off centre. I messed that up, but nobody noticed. Right, we need to glue these bits together now, don't we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these two pieces off the side walls at the back and loosely put them. I want to glue these two pieces together, but I also want to make sure they're lined up properly. So what I shall do is I shall discombobulate the rear wheelage. Rear wheelage. Just loosely off. I just get it off the sprue and then I can do a dry fit. Because then I can loosely dry fit the front wheels as well and just make sure that all the wheels are straight and true. Although I don't think it'll be that simple. I think it'll be a lot more complicated than that. I'm probably overthinking it because it probably goes together like a dream and isn't a problem. Also, if I do end up with one wheel slightly taller off the ground, I can just put more base texture on it. Then for the front wheels are going to be a pain in the ass. 53 and 54. 53 and 54. So I want 53. That's the inside wheel because it's got the connectity bits. Connectity bits. Oh, that's going to be harsh. These wheels. Oh, that is going to be harsh. Not them wheels. These front wheels. Not only are you going to have the gap between the... In fact, let's just get the wheels assembled now. Let's just get these done. Because then it's easy then, isn't it? So 53 and 54. So 53 is there. Not going to be harsh, but I can see we're going to have one seam line and two mould lines to deal with on each wheel. 53 and 54 is all next to it. Also, can I point out the wheels have got spikes on them, which means I've got to handle a spiky thing. Which means it's a Games Workshop kit. I'm gonna like a pin cushion, aren't I? So you have the wheels that go together like this. There's a key, there's a lock there, and there's a key here. So they only go together one way, which is that way. That is a harsh. Oh, that's horrible. You've got this massive seam down the middle of the wheel, which if it's a normal tyre, you just squeeze it together, sand it down. The difficulty is you've got all these spikes sticking up, which means there's almost virtually, I can't see how you're going to sand that back with big spikes sticking out. I don't know if you can see there, but I don't know how they do it on the box. On the box, they've got absolutely no seam line whatsoever. Well, a hint of it here and there. My enjoyment of this kit has suddenly decreased a little tiny bit. How the hell like literally, tiny file. I can't get that easily into that gap between the spikes. If that didn't have spikes on it, it'd be a lot easier. Oh, that's a bit of an arse, isn't it? Sanding sponge will go down the middle, but kind of. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to cover these in mud and dirt. So, okay. Okay. Get this thing glued together anyway. Not cutting the nubs off yet. As well, you can tell. Yeah, that's taking an enjoyment point off this kit. Because the other ones I don't think had the spikes on there. And it would be fine if they didn't have the spikes. That would be a perfectly easy thing to sand. Right, so I need to keep it almost together, but not quite. Then I'm going to get the thin glue. Do our usual whiz around the edge. So it can seep in. I'm not taking the nubs off yet. Now, I'm not going to be painting it to look like the one on the box, which is all nice and clean. Or rather, I will be, however I do paint it, but I will be adding lots of dirt and weathering and mud and stuff. So some of that will hopefully work to cover up this egregious gap. So we're going to squeeze it together, which is going to hurt because of all the spikes. It's going to hurt my fingers. Ow! 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 There's no way to squeeze these together without pain. Oh, my poor fingertips. Ow! Or just, even if I just, oh, I'll do it flat on there and press it in the middle. Oh, that was painful. So that's going to be an absolute ball ache. Because it's got a slight concavity to it as well. So how the hell they've sanded that on the box art, I do not know. That's off to them. But I think we'll see how it goes, but I think there may be a significant amount of mud and dirt on this to cover up any egregious gap like that. Because it's going to be a challenge to get any sanding done in there. Ray from Malta saying hello to everybody. I am back. There it is, Fox, says Chris. Thank you. Model Maker Mayhem is saying 4772. Hut, hut. Welcome, welcome. I'm sure I remember he had a horse and cart like Steptoe and Son. There used to be a rag and bone man that used to come round our way. Yeah. Used to make that exact noise. Yeah. He had a horse and cart. When I was a kid, there was actually a horse and cart rag and bone man. It might have been Market Day, but I don't know. But you know how to do the cockpit, says Gross Models. What? It's the new Roadster, the Gork Mork Wagon, the GMW. I've lost track of the conversation now. Fox, it's probably been photoshopped. No, actually, if you look at it, there is a slight, I don't know if you'll see on camera, but there is a slight sort of little bit of a glink there, right on that bit of tread. A little bit of a nink where it's kind of going, and you've got a little tiny bit on the paint job, and it suggests there is a little bit of an edge there. But somehow they have filled that in. That's fascist. And I can't remember when Duncan did his. He didn't do this one. He painted the shock jump dragster, which is probably the most boring of all of these. And that had solid wheels, sadly. My macaw said ow along with you, lol. It's a spiky, sandy, spiky wheel of wheels that are an arse to sand, says Mayhem, pretty much. Make it a centre tread, Fox. I don't know what that means. Oh, you mean like it's supposed to be there? Yeah, but it just look. I mean, oh, don't forget, of course, I forgot to point out. Not only have you got this seam lined out, or this gap down the middle, you've also got a mould line here and a mould line here on the centre of each of the halves of the tyre. So going up and down all the spikes. Oh, it's been a nightmare, this one. It's been a pain in the bum. Yeah, reek pain in the bum. But because they're wheels, I can cover them in mud and dirt and crap. So there is some of a get-out clause there, still. If they weren't spiky, it wouldn't have been so bad. So you give me 2 mould lines and a seam line. Fascists. But we're not clearing up the nubs yet. We'll do that in a bit when we clean up the wheels. So that needs to go there. Exactly the same. You stay there, Guffle. Little bit of the fat glue. Doing the fat glue because it takes longer to flash off, so I've got more time to fiddle around with it. And it gives me stick. Remember, the extra thin just flashes away and evaporates off. I can't find my hole. Where's my hole? There we go. And get the extra thin in there. Best I can without gluing the whole thing together. I've always said I'm a painter, not a builder. So I will always treasure a build if it has a nice, simple, straightforward build process that doesn't involve fiddling and swearing. I'm sure this is probably doable if you've got like some funky chisel set or something like that. I do have a chisel, I ordered a couple, a round-headed chisel and a square-headed chisel from my good friends at eModels. They sent me the round one, but they were actually out of stock of the square one. It was just listed in stock by accident. And I think they're still waiting for it to come back in stock, so I've not had that yet. Ow! Look at the little dimples on my finger. Look, it's like a pin. Look at that. Ow! Ouchies. You're pushing. And then we've got these big wheels on the back. Now these have less and smaller spikes on them, so these will be a bit more manageable. Get this bit cut off. I know you can't see me doing it, but it's because I've been knocking the camera every 2 seconds, or the microphone, while I'm waving the sprue around. Now this isn't the order that the instructions say. The reason I'm doing all this now, I want to get the wheels off, so that I can, when I glue these 2 parts of the chassis together, I can make sure it's all lined up nicely. That was my belly that just made that noise. Where do these wheels go? What? Has it got double wheels on the back? It does indeed appear to have double wheels. I like that. Double wheels on the back, which I assume go any way I want. I don't think it's required that they have one for one side and one for the other. That's kind of mint then, isn't it? That's kind of, I like that. Double wheels. Okay, so that's fine. They just have like a mould line down the middle, which, because there's no spikes, that's still going to be a pain to get rid of, but it'll be a lot easier. So that doesn't need to be glued on now, I don't think. I might do that anyway. I don't think it's going to make any difference to the cleanup process if it's glued together. So let's get them glued on as well, just for the fun of it. We'll just put. I like the fact there's the Gorka Morka. Is it Morka Gorka? Gorka Morka? I don't know, the head on the wheels. Although I assume that's supposed to face a certain way. Let's just double check. Got to get these things correct, you know. It does look like it goes. Okay, so yeah, there is a left and right side. So these are chiral. So there's like a Gorka Morka head on the, or whatever, Gork or Mork. There's, you know, the orc head symbol on each wheel, and it faces different ways. So that one faces that way. That's the front wheels. So that one faces that way, and that one faces that way. So these 2 need to be on the same side, and these 2 need to be on the same side. So, and I'm guessing it's probably better that they face forward rather than face backwards. So, if that's the front, then that would be on that side. So that should be on, because that will go there. We'll sit on there like that. So that should go on that side. There we go. So yeah, that'll go there and face front. There we go. I will be a little bit OCD and have them all line up nicely. We'll just have them line up nice. It's quite pleasant if we do that. I've not got rid of the nubs or anything yet. We'll get rid of them later. Get rid of the mould lines and stuff on these wheels could be a live stream all of it by itself. Wow, there's almost words in that sentence. I'll just shut up. My words aren't working. That's quite a generous bit of the gluings. That's on that side. So on this side, the wheel should face front. On camera? Yeah, no, almost. Zoom out a bit now again, I think. Oh, just zooming out now, sir. This needs to face front. It's one of those things, it wouldn't really matter if you got these the other way around. It's just nice if they kind of line up and face the right way. It just looks kind of good. Not the end of the world if I got the wrong wheel on the wrong side, but I suddenly thought, well, if you've got a thing on the hubcap that faces a certain way, then it probably needs to go a certain way. Again, it doesn't say that in the instructions, of course, because of course it doesn't. So that's that way. Back wheel face and the hubcap facing that way. Right, so Now the wheel's actually attached to the front grille, which attaches to the engine block. So if I do a dry fit, this is how I like to do these. I like to kind of, it sounds really stupid to do it this way, but okay, that's weird. 22 and 21. I need to build the front wishbone then, bit that goes here. I like to do it this way because I know I'm going to be painting it in a certain way and I can't have things assembled that mean I can't paint things. So I need to make sure everything kind of fits together nicely before I glue anything. And I'm always quite picky about, you know, I don't want the rear wheels at one height and the front wheels at the other height and it looks a bit gonkish. Although having said that, there's no attachment points here, it's just free floating. That's a bit weird. How do you, oh, I see. That makes sure, oh, I get it. Oh, I see. Hang on. Hang on a moment. That goes like that. And that goes on there. Okay, that pins into... Oh, hang on. This might make things a little easier. It might not, of course. Not locked in there. Watching me build is kind of hard work, isn't it? I know, I'm stressful. So these back parts actually lock into that front part anyway. There's still some wiggle to it. There's spikes everywhere which are really hurting my fingers. This is not ideal. Yeah, everything hurts on this kit. I could be going off orcs. That seems to be about right. Okay. In that case, that may actually negate the issue of having to build the front wheels. Or maybe not, I don't know. I don't know. See, I did this on the other one, the one that's like a fighter plane, and there were some bits on there that you kind of had to try and figure them out in advance because they didn't really want to fit together very well. It's annoying this is a circular thing and not just a bit with, say, a D-shaped piece taken out. I don't know. Let's get this front bit built. 22 and 21 we want. A quick look at chat. Do the wheels go round and round and round and round? They just totally don't know. This looks very orky. What's the build, says the Raging Modeler. We're building the custom booster blaster. Yeah, we had a vote because I had that or the Snaz wagon. And we had a little vote at the start and everybody cheated. And we're building the booster blaster. This time. 22 and 21, that's what I want. 22, and it should be easy to find because they look like suspension parts. That was my belly if you heard it. I don't know if you did. 22 and 21. I forgot to say, bench, obviously, you know what I'm working on. Belly tonight for me is Chinese. Yes. That'll be the noodles. 22 and 21, which is... that bit there. Yeah, it'd be noodles tonight, so wonton soup, extra portion of shumai, lots of spring rolls, and then I might try. I might have the chicken pad thai tonight because beef pad thai could be a bit overwhelming sometimes. And sadly, my regular place that I get my Chinese from, that I used to love, my Japanese beef udon. They must have changed chef because at the moment the beef udon, it just tastes like somebody's done it on a barbecue but used like nail varnish remover or nail polish as the thing to get the fire going because they didn't have any like barbecue fuel left. So I've kind of gone off that a little bit. It just tastes like barbecue lighter fluid type stuff. But the pad thai is still nice. I might try the chicken tonight. And I might, if I'm not doing any building this evening or painting, I might have a manly beer. A bottle of ale of some sort, maybe, unless I do some filming. I don't know yet. Depends who's streaming tonight. Chris, are you streaming tonight or is Ted streaming tonight? I'm guessing that Dad isn't streaming. But it'll either be Chris over at Gross Models working on, I assume, still on your orc battle wagon, or Ted doing his Bane Blade on Skipper Scale Models channel. I can't remember who it is tonight. Which one of you is it? Tell me in the chat with the word. So we'll get these quickly assemblated. Yes, building with me can sometimes, if it's not a straightforward build, it can be a bit chaotic sometimes, because I do things like this where I go off-piste and just start assembling different sections to test fit them. Especially on something like this where it's a nice simple build. I know I can just go ahead and jump ahead a few steps and build some bits and bobs. But I want the wheels to line up. But it may well be that it's so ramshackle that I can't loosely assemble it together and have the wheels. It might be that I just have to go ahead and take it on faith. And if the wheels don't quite line up, then fake it with some tufts or some extra mud under the tyre so you don't quite notice. Because that's the thing, if it's on a base like that and I'm gluing it down, I can just get it on there, and then if one of the wheels is slightly off the ground, just put more texture underneath it. Or put a rock in front of it, or put a tuft in front of it so you can't quite see. Plenty of ways to get around it. Just me. I don't like things that... It's the one thing, whenever I build a vehicle, guarantees I get one wheel that's not quite... It's quite frustrating. It seems to be a natural talent I have. Not be able to line that kind of crap up. It is the order of things when it comes to my builds, it seems. My stomach's doing all the rumbles today. It knows I'm having noodles, you see, tonight. And it's like, bring me noodles now! Bring me noodles now! Yes, so if because it's Sunday, my usual Sunday routine is watch Colin and Dave do their stream at 12:30 on a Sunday. Do my stream. And then watch either Ted or Chris in the evening time. So I tend not to do any buildy over Sunday, apart from this. Or something I might do in the morning, maybe. So I did a bit of filming this morning, so I'm allowed to have a gentlemanly beer with my dinner, maybe. Because the thing is, if I'm working, even if I'm not filming, but I'm just like building and painting, I don't drink, and I don't drink beer very often anyway. I can't drink spirits because it made me ill. I'm not a big fan of spirits, you know, vodka and stuff like that. I don't mind occasional gin and tonics, quite nice. But I never drink if I'm doing any work. Like, even if I'm not filming it, if I'm just doing something for me, I don't really drink. Because I can't... If I have even just a beer, I'll probably make a mess of something. I don't even have a beer if I'm playing video games. If I say to myself, I'll just sit and play some Skyrim for a few hours, but I won't have a beer because I don't want to play wobbly. I don't want to be impaired. Sounds really stupid, but you know, it's just the way it is. Let's get these bits glued together. A quick look at the chat. So 22 and 21. 22 has... And we've got the grill part as well. Let's get the grill piece off, which is that one. I'm not going to assemble the front grille completely, but I want to get it on there so the axles are in place, because the axle's there on that piece of goodness. In fact, I don't need to put that off, do I? I don't need to take that bit off. Here's me tin. Because the axle's on the wishbone, not on the actual grill. If I had the Black Death noodles the other night, says the Raging Modeler. And did you die? We're up to... I've got the hiccups now. Raging Modeler is shattered. This weekend has been crazy busy at work. Oh, Mayhem's also on holiday for 2 weeks. Woohoo! Yay, 2 weeks off. Yes. Oh no, I did need that piece because I need to know which... There's two little widgets there, and there's two little widgets here. I think there's two big holes there and two small holes there. I'm not sure which is which for which. I think that goes in there, and then this just sits on the... Oh yeah, there's an entire slot on the back. There we go. Yes, there's a massive slot and tab. Hello, my name's Fox. Like and subscribe. So we'll do that on that. touch of the old gluinations. So as I'm building along, what I like to do is I like to look with like half an eye for sub-assemblies. So not just looking at what I'm painting and what I'm going to need to paint and, you know, what can go where. That's obviously part of it. But also, I'm looking for things where I can look at it and say, well, I don't need to have this bit not attached. Like, you know, I might be able to say to myself, well, I don't need to attach this part. As long as I get everything lined up with the two chassis parts, this bit, which goes on here, can just sit loosely and I can take it. If I'm confident that I can glue this on later without destroying the paint job, then I can leave this off. Now this is 2 tabs and 2 slots. And that sits like that. And it goes on really firmly. So I could, depending on what the rest of the vehicle is, I could leave that off, paint it up, and at the very end, put it on, scrape the paint off those 2 little nubs, tiny touch of glue, done. Without messing up the paint job. Now, for example, these 2 bits that I've just glued together here, I couldn't glue them together later because I've put glue on the little joints and it will make a mess of the paint. But where you've got clear tabs and rods, that will be very easy to glue together later on. Allow me access to this to paint it and access to the back of these shock absorbers. And that'd be great fun. But it depends, of course, you've got the grill as well, which goes in the front. Now this grill, you see, that grill, tiny touch of glue in there. That can go on. I could attach the grill later on. There's other stuff that goes on the grill, but that's telling me I can have the grill separate. So I like to do this kind of weird, disassociated stream of consciousness building nonsense, just to get a feel for what goes where. So that goes on there, like that. That will sit like that. The wheels on the bus go round and round. Now, thankfully, there's two access points because it's like a proper wishbone. There's two access points for the tholes. They go on like that. They're not going to stay on. That's not going to stay on. Oh. I could, of course, glue those wheels on now, but I need to fiddle with them later on. So it's going to be quite tricky actually to test this. I might actually end up gluing it and going on faith anyway. But that's going to go like that. I could say use some blue tack here, but blue tack makes things fit differently and is no good when you're trying to test whether something's flat or not. Let me put that there. Put this out of the way. What I need is an absolutely guaranteed flat surface. And what I have for that, you'll have seen this when I did my Eagle Transporter, is my glass cutting mat that I stole from Mama Fox. Sorry, Mama Fox. It used to have some of the Hovist dudes, whatever they are on there, but Mother's Pride dudes on it, but that's all come off now. This is a glass surface. It's absolutely flat as a butcher's dog. I don't know what that means. That goes on there like that, goes on there like that. That will sit like that. But we've still got some wigglations there, you see. So what I need to do then is, I try not to make that fall out every 2 seconds. They go on there like that. This will sit on the front here. Wheels on the bus go round and round, like that way. Remembering which way the Gorka Morka face sits. Make sure it's the right one on the right side. They're not really going to stay on, I know, but it's just, ugh. This is most frustrating. Most frustrating, you know that, don't you? Yes, it's got confused. That goes on there like that. This was a tight fit until about 2 minutes ago. So that goes like... Oh, Fox, what are you doing? Sits like that. So that needs to go in here. Like that. Hello, Mama Fox. That goes like that. Then yon wheels would go onto yon axle. This is where it all falls apart. You watch. It'll go ping and fall apart. There's no way I can't do this. I think we're going to have to glue it and then make it all adjustable. So what I'm going to have to do is I think I'm going to have to glue this first Make sure there's nothing else I need to do to the interior before I glue that bit on. No, that is the next natural step. So I'm going to glue these pieces together. Then I'm going to stick all the other bits on around it and hope it all stays in one place. So let's get these two bits glued because I'll have some wiggly room. Get these moving. I think the natural shape to it, but we'll find out. Let's use regular cement, not the fast setting stuff. Put that there. Now I'm going to get some normal thick cement, I think, as well. This is where it gets tricky. I don't do anything simply. If you could give me a 3-part kit and I'd still make a big fuss out of it. I'd still have issues and make it more complicated than it needs to be. Touch of fat glue in there just for physical weight support. Okay. Then some of the extra thin. Really weld it together. I like to weld it. The glue down there. I'm going to squish it together. Second, some more glue on this bit here. And these are going to be covered in dirt and mud. So what I can do now is somehow this bit on the front again. Back plates on. That. This goes like that, you see? Badooch. And the tricky bit now is getting these front wheels on because they don't want to stay on because they are fascists. I don't want to use blue tack though because that will affect how they sit and I don't want to do that. So that's like that. That's like that. And that falls apart. Fascist. Again, Dick Whittington. There, that's that. No, stay. Stay. I could use a temporary glue like PVA, but it's going to be too much faff. So there we have. The wheels are on. Almost. Nope. Ah! Cluster flunge. Right. Gimpatron. I'm going to do? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to get myself the magic tape of happiness. And we're going to loosely get some happiness tape going on there. Because that's fairly sturdy. It just needs to not fall off. I shall get the wheel on. Tape the wheel on without messing things up. I think so. Just loosely so it stays in place. The spikes mean the tape isn't getting in the way. I don't want the tape to act as something that puts extra distance between the wheel and the floor. That was a bad move. Oh, it's all good fun, this, isn't it? Yes, it's jolly good fun, yes. I don't know. Right. That can go there. That's on. That ain't going nowhere, no out, no nothing neither. That's just staying on there like that, right? Cool. Now these parts here, tape it all together. That bit there. It's lined up. It's got a little pin that goes on the side there, so that needs to make sure it's in place. That's that one. Just so it doesn't fall apart every time I move it. This one here. Otherwise I'm juggling it. I apologise if all of that was off camera, by the way. I suspect it probably was most of it. That bit goes there. Holds that in place. Lovely, lovely. Right, so they're on. Get these wheels on. Now I'm not having to manhandle all the rest of it. That way. Oops, Daisy. Go on there. That's going to come off again. Yes, of course it is. Ugh. Something's just snapped off, but I think it was a bit of sprue to stay there. Come off. It puts the lotion in the basket. Monkey fluffer. That needs to go there. Stay on. Right. I bet this is really frustrating to watch as well, isn't it? Bet it is. Especially if I'm off camera all the time. I bet it's really frustrating. Right. You are on. Loosely. You are on. Loosely. Right, get on. Don't be coming off. Whoa. It's not a tight fit at all, you see, so it's not conducive to staying where it's put. Most annoying. That'll do. That'll do. That looks, to me, I think, kind of spot on. I'm not getting any obvious wibble wobble. And then again, I can't really do it with the tape on the wheels. The tape is getting in the way of the wheels, unfortunately. So I've got to figure out some way to get them on. Stay on. Right, let's go for the nuclear method. I said I wouldn't do this, but I don't really want to do this because I might never get the blue tack out again. But we're going to have to do a little tiny bit of blue tack, I think. Tiny amount. To hold our wheel in place. I hate doing this because invariably the blue tack never comes out again. And you end up with blue tack in the way where the glue's supposed to be. Right, there we go. That's going to stay on. By this point, the glue's probably set so much it's not got any flexibility to it. Oh, well, never mind. That wheel goes on. Right. That is now. Oh! They're cambered, aren't they? Which doesn't help. You've got a camber to them. They're kind of stanced, as it were. Is that the phrase? Stanced? I don't know. It's very frustrating. Very stressful. There we go. I think they are on, and I think that is reasonably straight. Yeah, it'll be fine. I think we're fine. I think we're good. Oh, I think we're good with it. We'll get all this back off again. Yep. Well, palaver that was, eh? That was fun to watch, wasn't it? I'll have a look at the chat and see what all you're shouting at me. I suspect you will be. Yes. And rightly so, because that was stressful. Right, there we go. Cool. Me. Bits of tape off now. I can't see a thing because I've got my lenses on still. So I think I can leave this wishbone off on the front. I can leave that off because that's going to be very easy to attach later on. The wheels are going to need a big fat chunk of cleanup. Taking my kid to work. See you all later, says Muse. Take care, Muse. Thanks for coming in. Coffee is about to be finished. Oh. You've glued it to the wrong end, just saying. Don't make me point the finger. Uh-oh. Coffee complete. Time team coffee completed. Time for time team water. Yes. Right. It needs a bandage. Says Edward. Right. Sniffle, sniffle, sniffle. I do apologise. It's not a tumour, says Edward. I was just about debating which Arnie quote I should do then. I was like going to go, come on, you have to get on now. But I didn't do one. And I was just thinking that. And then you said it's not a tumour. Now I've got to try and get the blue tack out of this wheel hole. Ah, perfect. This was not a problem. This one, however, a bit more tricky. The downside of using blue tack for temporary fixings is it wouldn't be the first time. It's been more than once that I've done that and then not noticed there's blue tack left, especially if you've got like a rod and a socket, a peg and socket, and you do some temporary fix with blue tack to hold things in place. And the number of times I've done that and then forgotten about it and come to glue things together and then wondered why bits are falling off and leaving this horrible gooey mess behind. It's like, oh, there was still blue tack in there, wasn't there? Oh, little tiny bit of blue tack got left behind. Oh well. And back, says my raging modeler. Right, what's next? Next we have to put in the driver man's seat. We shall make the seat, and that is parts 01 and 02. Where's the sprue? Where's the... It's right there in front of me, you idiot. I can't believe I just had the sprue there, but where's the sprue? Oh, dear. I'm not to be trusted, I don't think. I don't think I can be trusted with anything now. I think I've got to the point where everything is just too challenging for me. You know, talking, simple builds, holding tweezers without throwing them across the desk. Over the last 3 days, last 2 live streams, every time I've been setting up the live stream, 10 minutes before the stream, I've dropped my iPad keyboard and broken it almost. I had to fix it. One day after the other, like dropped it, next day dropped it again. I'm like, oh. Right, 1 and 2 is what I need. Chair, isn't it? So we know what these look like. There's 1. Anyway, I hope you're all well. Hope everybody's doing okay. Not too much of a gossip from my end. Part number 2, which is the butt area of the chair, which is there. As is always the way, I've been totally tied up this week doing various bits and bobs for Real World, so I've not had a lot of chance for filming for the Tabletop Trauma Centre. But as I showed earlier on, in case you missed it, I am up to... That's how far I've got with the Lehman Russ Tabletop Trauma Centre build so far. I've got the camouflage paint job down so far. Now, I know it looks patchy, you've got shiny bits here and there. It's just because that'll go away once it's finished. It's had a shade and a bit of dry brushing. So that's where we're up to. Remember, it was painted in just black and green. So we've got all the white stripes and stuff. So that's where I'm up to with the Lehman Russ build anyway. I'll show you that quickly. Coming along nicely. And it's going to be, just so you know, it's going to be an airbrush-free build. Because I come up with the rule, I made up in my head the rule that I've just dropped that part, there you go. I've made up in my head that I have to stick to the original methods. So if I've got a model for Tabletop Trauma Centre, if you don't know what it is, it's where I take a model that somebody else has painted, I buy it on eBay, some terrible thing that I found on eBay, and I rescue it, strip it down and repaint it. But I will try as best I can to reproduce the original paint job. But I will also stick to whatever methods the original artist used. So if it looks like the person painting it didn't use an airbrush, I won't use an airbrush. Because the idea will be that when I do it, I'm doing it to teach the person who made it. I'm not doing it to ridicule their absolute lack of talent, anything like that. I'm doing it to say, okay, what you did was terrible. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's how you could have done it better. I'm doing it in a way to teach them how they could have done it, rather than just to ridicule them. And it's not like, here's a terrible model, let's paint it in some other colour scheme and let's just do a professional job on it. I want to, if I can, stay true to their colour scheme, which is what I'm doing with this Lehman Russ. It was black and green camouflage colour scheme with some white and red accents, I'll do exactly the same. I've even copied exactly as I can the camouflage pattern on the original paint job. I've stuck to that, but it didn't look like it had been airbrushed, so I'm going to brush it. Everything will be brushed. If I get one and it's had some airbrush work on it, then I'll be free to do airbrush work. But if the subject of the Tabletop Trauma Centre is clearly airbrush free, then I'll do that. Because as I say, the idea is that I want to teach excuse me, the person, to show them how they could have done it better using the same methods. Now, I don't obviously know exactly what methods they've used. I don't know, exactly what materials and paints they've used. But it's fairly obvious if someone has or hasn't used an airbrush. And I don't know, the person that's painted it and then put it on eBay, they could have painted it 20 years ago and they're just clearing out crap. Oh, God, I remember I used to play Warhammer 20 years ago. Sell that on eBay. And they might not care. Or it might be somebody that painted it like a month ago and just sold it. And may still have that same, I was about to say skill level, but more like lack of skill level. They may still be at the same level of painting skill. And it can be beneficial to say, here's how you can make it better. Better. I've just noticed the feet for the orc are actually already there. His feet are already in place. So we need to put the chair in. I've got to be thoughtful now of how this is going to go together and exactly what order, so that I don't want to put something in and then realise I can't paint that because I've glued something else in place. Like I can't really put the dude in the cockpit because I've got to be able to paint him and I can't get to him. But that's the challenge, you see. I don't know how much I can pre-assemble. Like, and I'm going to have an issue with the roof because I need to be able to get in here to paint this stuff. But once you put that roof on, it covers that stuff up. So, yeah, I don't really know how far I can go with it. So that's the challenge. Das ist ein Challenge gefahren. Ja, das ist richtig. Glue on that. Hope I'm in shot. Slap that on there, slap that on there. Go. Bit on, and then we'll glue the back piece in. Mr. Back piece, which needs to go that way. I love the wonderful way it looks like just bits of offcuts of steel plating and like bits of mesh and stuff that they've just found lying around and cobbled together into a driver's seat. Brilliant. The chair in place. And I have to hope, of course, I've not glued that bit too far forward so that the guy now doesn't fit in the chair. Take it on faith. I've got a big splob of glue there, so I'm going to get the brush with no glue on it and just brush that away. There we go. Now we have the firewall and the instrument panel. But again, I'm going to do this with an eye to, can I leave this off and paint it and glue it back in later? So there's the firewall. What's it talking about? No idea. I get bored listening to myself, so yeah. Instrument panel is there. There's lots of lovely detail on this, like all the little dials and things. It looks fantastic. So if I can leave this off to the last minute and get it all nicely painted up. Because you've got the dial and then you've got the little indicator arms in each dial separately there. Ideally I want to be able to paint them carefully. Knife. Daddy, I need a knife. Are we still zoomed in or are we zoomed out? We're zoomed out, aren't we? Did chat fall over again? Yeah, it does that. That's Streamlabs, that is. Streamlabs, your product is fantastic, but I wish it wouldn't keep falling over every 20 minutes and just going dead and then rebooting itself 20 minutes later. Your software has stability issues, my friends. there. And nebulations. There's a lot of people that will just build this and just assemble it all and then try and paint it. With mindset of, well, you can't really see the guy's legs, so it doesn't really matter, just try and paint it as best you can. But when it comes to this kind of thing, I don't know. I've always favoured the idea of if you can't see it, you don't have to worry about painting it. But when it comes to figures in cars, I don't know, it's a bit different for some reason. Now that's interesting. Underneath this bit here, there's like this little sticky down piece, which I assume is something goes in there. There's like this bit here, and then there's cogwheels underneath. But you can't even see that from any angle. You might just about see it, but I appreciate the fact they've put that detail on there. Even though the cogwheels wouldn't actually fit because they're too big and tall, but never mind. Okay, we've got a little bit of a mould line on that, just a tiny one down this side here. Get rid of that. Nothing major, but again, it is the kind of mould line that when you paint it, if you do a wash or a dry brush, it's going to kind of stand out a little bit. Worth just getting rid of it. We want this. Use my scraping tool to get rid of these nub remnants, may as well. Just keeps the edge nice and flat. That's it. We'll give it a quick blip with a sanding sponge. Sanding sponge, was there? Sponge. Sponge-tacular! That bit there, we'll get the file on that because it'll be there all day if we try and sand it. I want to keep that straight and flat as much as I can. When I'm sanding a flat surface like that with a sanding sponge, I'm doing it very, very gently because I filed it because I wanted to keep it a flat surface. If I then go with a heavy sanding sponge, I'll be putting a bend or a curve in it, and I don't want to do that, so that's going to be hidden anyway, but we'll file it down. Okay, so that's the instrument panel and the firewall, which goes like that. That's lovely, that is lovely. Goes on there. Are we on camera? Yes. Bring to me the extra thin cement that I may glue to my happiness and satisfaction. Round the back, there you go. Nice and shiny. Run that down the back of the plate there. Done. You don't need a lot of this stuff. The beauty of extra thin, it sucks down into all the gaps. Does all the work for you. Yeah. That's on there. Now we don't need to worry about this little gap, this little seam, because it's an instrument panel on the firewall of the car. It's reasonable to have a gap there because it will be the plate of the instrument panel stuck on the front. So some things you can get away with and say, well, that's just an actual panel gap. Whereas some things you want to try and hide. Have a quick look at chat. It's called Getting Old, said Edward Leonard. It needs a bandage. Lol. Mayhem says sponge, 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 sponge. If you've ever watched, you need to, when you finish watching this, you need to go and find the YouTube channel for EV Nautilus, Exploration Vehicle Nautilus. They sail out of Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, and they do lots of deep sea dives with their ROVs, and they study the life down on the bottom of the ocean. But one of the staffers there, a lady called Amanda Khan, she's absolutely adorable because she's dead enthusiastic. She loves like marine biology. She's dead enthusiastic, but she gets ridiculously excited because she studies. She's an expert in sponges, and she gets stupidly excited when they see a sponge. To the point where last year they were doing a dive, and they were exploring this whale fall, a dead whale carcass on the sea floor, and looking at all the life forms and octopuses and things that were hanging around with it. And they were having a, pardon the pun, whale of a time. And she was more excited by the sponges than this whole ass whale with like octopi and hagfish and all these other. And she's like, yeah, but guys, look at the sponges. It was adorable. She gets really excited when they find sponges, though. She really does get ridiculously excited. So that's where the side walls are going to go. And then the top sits here. And at the back. And you have a guy on the top and there's the grot hanging out the back, I think. So technically, you can... This is the challenge you have. This roof piece here goes on here, like that. Now, once you've put that on, I can't get to this. Now, you can see this from here, and you can see it from the hole in the back where the grot's hanging out. But you can't see it in such a way that you can get to it. If I cut that piece out now, let's have a look. I think it's just that one piece. I don't mind having loads of bits cut out ready. I haven't decided yet if this is going to be a brush paint or an airbrush job. I don't know yet. I'll tell you why that's relevant in a minute. So this will sit on like that. It links up with these bits of frame here. These pieces of frame go into these little sockets. Sits like that. And looks fantabulous. It's not going to fit because of those... no, let me take that nub off. Gentlemen, remove your nubs. I'm not going to glue this on now, but this is the kind of pickle that I get myself into when I'm doing these things. Because... get this nub off. Okay. That sits on there like that. Oh, there's a nub on there as well. Ugh, flange testicles. That's why I wasn't going on, because a great big nub on that one as well. Yes, boom. Let's get that nub off there. If I had half a brain, I'd be twice as dangerous. Wait, that didn't even work. Never mind. I don't look as half as stupid as I am, you know. Goes there. That comes off there. Still not looking forward to cleaning up these wheels, but yeah. So. That goes on there. That goes on there. And that goes. Kaplunk. All good so far. This sits on the top. Like that. And then locks in there. And then falls in because it explodes. Oh. And then everything explodes. Penguins. So that sits on top. Now, the trick you have, that would be fine. And I could add that later if I needed to. That sits on there like that. You can see in there from the back. There'll be a guy hanging out the back there, but you can see in the back. Okay? So I need to be able to paint that stuff in the back. You can also see it when the driver's not in there. You can see it down the side of the driver. I need to be able to paint that stuff in there. But I've also got this seam line here. And the seam line here on the roof part. So the question for me is, if I don't want this seam line, I have to glue this on and then paint the exterior. But if I do that, then that will require me to paint the interior first and then glue on these three side and top walls. So paint the interior first, glue these three all together, fill the seam line, and then paint the exterior. I'll have to mask off this gap here and the interior cap. But then it's not going to be that easy to like mask off inside there because, I mean, I could put some tape down but I want to mask off the entire interior. If I'm airbrushing it, what I might have to do is, this I'm planning it now as I'm talking to you, a mixture of airbrushing and brush painting. So what I'd have to do is not paint the body panels, paint all, get everything painted, leave these 3 pieces off. That gonna work? Might do. It's tricky, because I was thinking I could leave the side walls off and unpainted, get all this stuff painted up, then paint the interiors, stick these on because I can do that without messing up the paint job. Prime it with something like lead belcher for all the metallic parts. So the interior bit here is painted around the doors and stuff, the interior of the walls, the interior of the wheels, because you still see them. Paint the interior of the roof. Glue this in place. Now you then mess up the paint on the inside where the mould, where the gap is, but yeah, you can live with that. Glue all that together. Fill that gap. Fill that gap. Mask off this entire area here like that, so paint can't get into the cockpit. Just jam some tissue or something into that bit so paint can't get inside that gap. Then paint that. But then I'd have to go back and paint the wheels as well, so wheels would have to be the last thing painted. That's one way. If I'm using an airbrush, that's one way I could do it. Possibly. But then again, for such a small area, and for the fact it's an Orc vehicle and doesn't need to have a perfect paint finish, I could just brush paint the whole thing. In which case, I can paint the entire interior, I can get these bits painted up and glued on, I can assemble all this, it's brush painted. Can go on there. That can all be painted. La, 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 la. I can get to the inside, I can get to the outside, I can get to the guy because I won't glue him in yet, I can glue the guy in afterwards. Then it comes to this piece. I can make sure the inside's all nicely painted, put it down, glue it in place, squish the paint out, sand it back, and then paint these bits of body. Just not paint this body shell here, because that's going to be brush painted, and that's going to be doable. That would be doable. I think this is determining then I'm going to have to do a brush paint job. Airbrush priming maybe, an airbrush start with an airbrush layer of metallics or a rattle can layer of metallics for most of it, because most of it's going to be bare metal, don't forget. So that might work. That's a good way. Okay, that's a good way to do it, folks. Right, where are we up to? Quick look at chat. Hi dude, Andy Busby. Hey Andy, hey Busby dude. How you doing, my friend? There's Anne Busby, says Model Making Mayhem. See, you're already known, Busby. People know you in chat now, even though you've only been in one chat. People know who you are. Busby's in one of my videos. On my channel. He built a heavy arms. How you doing, friend? I hope you're doing okay, mate. Big manly hugs and all that. He's a good mate, man. One of my best mates, Andy Busby. Not seen him for a while because the world's on fire, but you know, hey, we're blokes. We can deal with it. Hello, dude. We're making Orc vehicles. I'm making the custom booster blaster. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, you'd like that. I reckon if Busby got into Warhammer, because Busby's not into Warhammer, I don't think he's not built any. But I reckon if Busby got into Warhammer, he'd be an Orc player. I think he'd be an Orc player. You would, dude. I think it's up your street, Orc stuff. Right, so firewall goes. Yeah, see, there's lovely. There's lovely. I want to build this and paint this now, but I can't because I've got millions of other things to paint. I won't get around to painting this for like years. You do know that. I've got my Bane blade, and this isn't going to fit. What? Oh, I see. So I had to bend this back a bit to get that in. And that determines... Okay, that's... okay. So I glued that together, got the wheels lined up, and now this has to go in there anyway. Okay. I think we can glue the firewall in. Because... I'm going to guess... that the steering wheel and that... is part of the driver, and I think he will just slot in. Yeah, the instructions show the driver can just slot in afterwards, so that's fine. I can get the driver with the steering wheel built. I don't think there's anything else to put on the dashboard after the dashboard goes into place. I think that's just literally it. So what I can do is glue that in now. This then forces the chassis into a certain position and shape, which is fine. It was a bit bent that way. So this is actually forcing it to go a certain way, which helps with the wheel leveling, balance and everything. I shall glue that in now. Just need a lot of glue. Just enough to hold it in place. I can still get to all of the fascia and the console and the dials and stuff to paint, that's no problem. Glue in there. So that's the dashboard in. We can only hope, of course, that when the driver goes in, that everything fits in place and the wheel goes into the socket and everything else with him assembled. So when we assemble the driver, I'm going to guess there's like, you have to get the arms lined up. We'll have to do a bit of dropping him in and making sure it all fits and then pull him back out again. So that's that glued on there. Lovely. I've got a heck of a lot of cleanup to do on these wheels. Really don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll try and figure it out. It might be that like 1 week I just sit here cleaning wheels for the entire 3-hour live stream. It could be entirely possible. Yeah, don't doubt it. Let's just get that off there. Yeah, I reckon Busby, if you were to get into Warhammer, I think you'd be an orc, or you'd be an orc player. I think you'd appreciate orc stuff. So there we go. Oh, hello, matron. Morning, Vicar. That's not going to fit on there because that big nub. Big nubs. There we go. So, feeling quite positive about how that's going to go for the painting. We are going to have to brush paint it. I think it's small enough that brush painting will be fine for the because there's not a lot of body shell to go on there anyway. There's not a lot of body shell, and it is an orc vehicle, so it's going to be rusty and knackered and beaten and made of scrap. I think we'll be fine. And then it explodes. Oh well, never mind. I was hoping to just loosely put it together for the end, but there we go. Never mind, just dash my hopes. I don't care. So that goes like that. There isn't a chance in hell that the wheels will stay on the front if I assemble them together loosely. There you get the idea. Where are we? Got on camera there. There we got some wheels. Right, and I think that's going to do us for today. It's 5:45, so I think we'll call it there. Yes, I think painting this, if we brush paint it, it gives me the chance to get the interiors painted, stick the walls on, the side walls, paint the interiors of the side walls, stick the side walls on, then I can paint the exterior. It shouldn't be a problem because I can do some basic metallic work on the roll bars here. Just this part. Now I know there's a bit that goes in here with the dude in the top, but that can possibly plonk in later anyway as well as a sub-assembly. So that's kind of cool. So we see if we can get the wheels on. Probably not going to happen, but let's just give it a try anyway. No, it's not going to happen. Never mind. Anyway, I think that's going to do us. So a last quick look at chat. Yay, says Andy Busby. Hello, Andy Busby. Yeah, it's not. I like it that Andy's been able to pop into chat. Normally start at 3 though, just so you know, dude. Although I'm sure you're probably watching some rubbishy football nonsense, aren't you? He likes his football. Well, I say he likes football. He likes Man City, so close as you can get, I suppose. Anyway, that's going to do us, I think. I shall, of course, be back next Sunday for more Warhammer Sunday. Take these things off my glasses. I shall be back next Sunday for more Warhammer Sunday. Don't forget tonight, of course. I don't know if I did ask Chris, but I never actually looked to see if he answered. You said you messed up a decal on the Falcon cockpit, and that's the one bit of the Falcon you know, says Chris. Gross models. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Also, you don't know this. Well, Chris knows this, but none of you will notice. There is an Easter egg on that Falcon I built. There is one single decal Go and find it. It's on the photographs. I posted the photographs. It's on there. There's one single Easter egg decal on that entire build. Yes, Chris, did you say who was streaming tonight? Is it you or Ted? I did ask you, and then I never saw the answer, and I don't want to spend ages scrolling up now. So, yes, it's Ted tonight. Oh, yes, Ted. Yeah, Baneblade. So, hopefully, tonight, Ted over at Skipper Scale Models on the YouTubes should be carrying on with his Baneblade build, if he remembers, and if he's not a million degrees in his loft or anything else. So, hopefully, he'll post a link up in the Model Maker's Boom Hut. Let me just check. My buttons have stopped working. Let me reboot my buttons. Hang on. Button rebooting time. Do. Hang on. Let me reboot my buttonings. Put things in chat. 1 second, folks. I need to close that because that shouldn't be open. That. Stream Deck. And then restart Stream Deck. Thank you to David Bridge who has subscribed yesterday. Right, so we should have now some buttonage. Yeah, right, so yes, Model Maker's Boom Hut, after all that. Should put that in chat now. If you're not a member already, go and join it. If he doesn't post it up on his own Facebook page and stuff, he will of course post it in the Boom Hut. But he'll also post it on his Skipper Scale Model page, and it'll be on his YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed to him, go and subscribe. And Chris at Gross Models and everybody else. Subscribe to everybody. But yes, Ted will be hopefully doing his Baneblade tonight. Chris says, nothing set yet, but this is his channel. If he's not set it yet, he might not be doing a stream tonight. He might have forgotten. You might have to remind him, Chris, because he'll have forgotten. I forgot. But hopefully, because I'm enjoying watching Ted do his Baneblade. Because the beauty with Ted is, Ted has no vested interest in Warhammer at all. We forced it upon him. We bought the kit for him. And he's like, but he likes tanks and stuff. So I'm excited to see how he deals with it. Like, Chris, you're doing your Orky stuff. And you're not got a vested interest, like you're not playing the game, but you do appreciate and you like the kind of Orky stuff and you like the Warhammer stuff and you're having fun painting it. So it's still fun to watch you do yours. But Ted's got literally no knowledge at all, no interest whatsoever in Warhammer. So it's fun to watch Ted as a complete innocent working on his Baneblade. It's fascinating to watch. I love it. Anyway, I reminded him yesterday, says Chris. Cool. Oh, well, we'll see if he remembers. Anyway, I shall call it there. So thank you very much for watching. I will be back, of course, tomorrow on the emodels.co.uk channel. On there, you channel me, Ted, Chris and Colin for the eModels Monday show. So I shall see you there tomorrow night at 9 PM GMT. Yes, I changed all my clocks last night. Changed them this morning, but my phone does it by itself. I changed all the clocks. I even remember to change it to GMT on my videos and everything. Normally I forget, and for like a week I'm putting everything as BST. But yes, so go and check us out tomorrow night. I'll be back on next Friday, of course, with Fallout Friday, and then Skyrim Saturday, 3 PM. I stream at 3 PM on Fridays, 3 PM on Saturdays, and 3 PM on Sundays, every weekend, more or less. So 3 PM Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm here. I'm doing a stream of some sort. So if you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs, come and join in. I'm either playing Skyrim, playing Fallout, or I'm doing Warhammer. Anyway, that's going to do me. So thank you very much for watching. Do remember, of course, to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to become an awesome person and help support this channel and keep this channel going, because I depend on you guys for my income, as you know. So if you would like to support this channel, first and foremost, you can become a patron at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. You can support me and help keep the lights on and help keep this channel in existence. If you prefer, you can just become a YouTube channel member by hitting the join button at the bottom of any of my videos or on my channel homepage. And that way you can become a YouTube channel member. Both of those groups get access to most of my video content, not all of it, most of it, advert free a week in advance before everybody else. So there are some benefits to becoming a member or a patron. So do consider that. And don't forget, of course, Goblin Gaming and emodels.co.uk, links in the description below the video. My 2 corporate supporters, your one-stop shops for all your model making and tabletop gaming needs. Go use those links in the description below this video. I shall wield my Time Team water cup. Oh, Tony, look at the stratification on that. That's right, that is Roman, that's Neolithic, that is. You like going and do some flint napping now. Anyway, I shall say, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. Thank you very much for your time. Watch Ted tonight, and until next time, adios amoebas. Where's my buttons? Where's my buttons? Hang on, I've forgotten which button it is. Oh, it's that one.